Hi everybody, it's quarterfinals time. Molly Picklum and Bronte McCauley here at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. Molly world #1, but she's competing in Bronte's backyard. McCauley, raised down in Gracetown, was always coming up to main break to compete. This year as a wild card, as she's made the semifinals the last 2 consecutive seasons at this event. Let's prepare for Picklum versus McCauley.
The current world #1, Molly Picklum, is out there in that leader's jersey.
I'm embracing it all. It's fun. It's definitely new for me.
This opening card really on rail.
The local hero, Bronte McCauley.
There's wild cards that can be a little daunting.
She has had good results in the past.
Molly Picklum wearing yellow, meaning that she is running the tour these days. Just 20 years of age, but feeling really comfortable where she sits today. Flashing back to last season, she had the heartbreak of being sent to the Challenger Series, but now she's thankful of that experience. Went right into Snapper Rocks, made the podium there. Was able to rework her whole focus at Bolito and got herself back on the championship tour. Experienced a winning feeling at Sunset, but she's got one of the toughest to compete against at main break. McCauley responsible for knocking out the most decorated surfers on tour last year. Steph, Gilmore and Carissa Moore in back-to-back rounds, and they're both getting excited here, Richie Lovett.
Yeah, and it's Bronte McCauley who has the inside track, but have a look at this move from Molly Picklum. Paddles under her, and they both miss it. So, well, the judges deem that a blocking technique. We'll just have to wait and see here whether they're going to buy into this, but certainly some tactics going on before we even get underway.
How exciting was that? Molly again putting some intensity next to the local hero. And the Goofy Foot finally gets some space to throw down 2 turns and ejects on the second. Wow, things getting started in a very exciting way. Aggressive on the positioning move for Picklum. She ends up getting dragged over the falls, but she still got really close on Bronte's takeoff as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of cat and mouse going on there, and the youngster just showing that she is not going to bow down in any situation. So watch this. Molly just goes straight on Bronte's inside, possibly too deep. It would have been a crazy takeoff.
Officially a block. Yellow on blue from the panel upstairs.
Wow, well, there you go. You know, Bronte, as soon as she saw Molly Picklum on her inside, she was like, wow, I gotta go. But, you know, it was the judges obviously going, Molly was really in no position to actually take that wave, but it still forced Bronte to pull back, so deemed a block. Wow, that's going to be a difficult one now.
Spicy start to the heat. Molly Picklum not afraid to enter a paddle battle. That felt a little old school, just going right underneath and trying to outposition McCauley. She did get called for the block. Bronte was able to get the next wave. 3.5 for McCauley, falling on the second effort. Just making this final series so exciting. Quarters are officially set for the men. We're setting up the semifinals today. Remember, men's quarter still on standby. Jesse Miley-Dyer, Chief of Sport, loving these conditions. And we have some important heats regarding the midseason cut, focusing on Lakey in that conversation coming up next against a 5-time world champ named Carissa Moore. Rolling into this one, Molly Picklum from the central coast of New South Wales, just having a bit of downtime, so she fades the first section. Now a cool finishing move, got there nice and early. Great read there for Molly to make sure she got the completion.
Yeah, you can just tell, Joe, that this northerly wind is starting to put some real bumps on the face of the wave here, making it difficult to ride. And, well, I would be looking at it now if I was a coach going, you know what, don't concentrate so much on the big rail carves unless you get second wave of the set and the face is nice and smooth. Let's start getting some of those tighter snaps happening and really start to attack that lip. You can see Molly just, you can see the board just jumping out of the face a little bit there. Sets up this inside maneuver and just cuts down under the lip. Did very well to hang on. Avalanche of whitewash behind her. And she was actually just trying to figure out which little lip to hit there. There was a number of options. She chose wisely.
Let's look at the Bailey Ladders bracket. Molly Picklum, Bronte McCauley. That's just getting started. Five-time world champ Carissa Moore has Lakey Peterson. Remember, Lakey hasn't heard any news about the cut. She still has some work to do there. Tyler Wright's looking unstoppable, backing up her Bell's title. And how about that matchup? A lot of world titles in quarter three with Steph Gilmore involved. And then Sally Fitzgibbons, also a surfer coming from deep on the rankings. The Aussie vet wants to keep her dream alive and continue on this season. But Caroline Marks already officially making the cut. The Goofy Foot took out Brisa Hennessy earlier today with some great backhand work. So a great crew here in our final 8 competitors on the women's side of the event. Molly Picklum trying to get some room on that final 5 picture. That'd be a big deal if she could clinch that #1 seed at lower trestles.
Oh yeah, that would be just a huge advantage going into the final series. Well, 8 women left in the draw, 2 goofy footers, 6 natural. And Bronte McCauley flying the flag for the goofy footers, also flying the flag for the locals here down at Margaret River. Still lots of energy in the ocean, Joe. Plenty of waves coming through.
Everyone's trying to will that story to continue from Bells, with Ethan's mom winning Bells back 40 years ago. And then he was able to take the bell. Now they want to see it happen with the father-daughter combo. Dave McCauley winning this event back in the day. And his daughter trying to do the same thing at the CT level. Bronte's fresh off a win in Newcastle, winning the QS 5000 there over Sarah Baum in the final. She's had a lot of success at Meriwether Beach. This is Molly Picklum with some clear water.
Yeah, this is one of those inside ones, isn't it? A bit smoother water.
Now throws down the rapid cutback, but just didn't have the wall to really line up through the end section. Molly's opener, a 5.83. That's her second scoring ride. That's about to factor in. So Molly's already out in front. Is there one signature move that pops out for Molly, or is it really overall performance?
You know, she's so well-rounded and varied in a repertoire, but I keep flashing back to that one frontside hack she did last year. That really stands out in my mind. And she sneaks this one on the inside, a smoother face, opens up with a nice carving wrap and a second, and then this is where the wave goes flat. So Molly just opts to take an easy track out on the side of the rights, back out into the lineup. But yeah, Joe, I really feel like second wave of the set is a key part of getting through heats now that the winds come up a little bit.
Yeah, Bronte McCauley will understand that incredibly well, spending the most time in this lineup. And remember, not just your ordinary wild card. She's had a lot of experience on the championship tour. Her backhand's given her a lot of great memories. Great at Jeffreys Bay. She's been able to compete on that dreamy right-hand point break. Always loved watching her compete at Honolulu Bay. Put Bronte in world-class conditions. She's going to make a big mark on the event. I feel like the better the waves get, the better Bronte's chances are of making a podium.
Yeah, for sure. You know, she's no stranger to heavy water and bigger waves that can sometimes challenge your resolve. And, well, Bronte keeps rising to the occasion here. I guess that's just a, you know, product of being bred in the West. You can't help but really have to push yourself to get out here. You're right out in the elements. Big open ocean swells.
Great tube rider as well. Doesn't mind traveling on the dirt roads around these parts. Amazing in big barrels, especially on her forehand. Willing to throw herself over the ledge on demand. That fearless approach could really pay off here at this event. Let's now hear from the man to beat. John Florence is with Stace.
John, these afternoon heats are working a treat for you.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I don't know, I like these afternoon heats.
You got a pretty tight-knit unit of people always in your support crew. Brendan Wasserman, one of those people. What are you guys breaking down pre-heat when, say, Ross isn't here?
More just kind of making sure I'm organized and having the boards and everything together, and for the most part, just kind of, yeah, showing up and just surfing. Just for me, that's just so important to show up and not have to think about anything but just go surfing. and it's kind of how I do it at home. And so to kind of have a fun team around, you know, those down days, those lay days, and you just have your friends or my brother, and it's been fun having the crew we have here.
I know you've got a very analytical mind. Do you get behind the scenes at any wineries?
Yeah, we go to the wineries. I love wine. That's good. It's pretty fun. We get to travel all over the world, so we get to see, you know, the wine here in Oz and go to Europe and South Africa and all these great places, and coffee, and I like it all.
Up against Ethan Ewing next. What do you make of that matchup?
Yeah, I think it'll be definitely a good battle. Ethan's been surfing great these last few years, and it's just been fun to watch him. And so I don't know if we've had a heat together for a little while, so it'll be fun to surf against him out here, though, because he's got such a good forehand carve, and it'll definitely be a battle. But it's just, I don't know. When I surf in these heats, I don't really think about who's in the heat. I just kind of just surf, and so for me, I just try to, you know, hopefully I get an opportunity to do what I want to do.
Would you say you'd modelled any of your angles in attack off Ethan?
I definitely like some of the approaches he had to some of his turns. I think they're amazing, like some of the lines he draws and stuff. But I also think just like everyone surfs waves so differently, you know? Everyone approaches waves so differently, and that's what's so cool about everyone having such different styles. And you can kind of take little things here and there that look like they're like really cool for certain lines. I definitely think Ethan has that one frontside carve, and he kind of draws it all the way through really cool. A little bit different than the way I do it, and so it's just interesting to have the kind of two in your mind and be like, oh, like I can kind of throw that in different sections.
Thanks for the answer. It obviously goes without saying a lot of people have modelled themselves off your carving, so appreciate your time there, John, and best of luck in that heat.
Thank you.
Good man, Stace. That was really enjoyable listening to John Florence talk about technique, style, you know, even the flow of Ethan Ewing, appreciating that carve, and we're appreciating that matchup as well. It just reminds me always of the talk that John had critiquing his style and how different it was when he first came on tour. Now everyone's trying to model what he's doing because he stands alone. For me, John's style's like an Aki. It can't be repeated in the same way.
No, it is extremely individual and exclusive to John, obviously. But it is so unique, you know. He's got this really quiet upper body. When he goes through the turns, there's not a lot of theatrics and fanfare. You know, you'll see a lot of surfers throw their arms up into the air when they go and do a snap. John keeps everything quite neat and tidy, and certainly works for him.
I mean, it is John. Ethan have a chance in that matchup.
That's going to be a classic one, you know, and like fingers crossed that these guys have just perfect 6 to 8 foot Margaret River bowl. I'm not going to pick a winner out of that. I'm sorry.
That's totally fair.
I'm staying on the fence.
That's why I asked you. It's what a matchup to watch. Ethan fresh off the Bell's victory, and he'll have an opportunity to have JJF. How about this set? That's Molly Picklum right in the heart of the peak, having a duck dive that one. Molly does have first priority, even though she got caught by that wave. Bronte now moving closer to the peak as McCauley's chasing a 6.33. She is in great position for this wave. It has a lot of foam on the face, and she'll go straight down.
Yeah, tough one. That foam is just so hard to ride through. So much turbulence under the board. You're really difficult to get the fins locked into the face of the wave. It's like driving a car without tires, you know, sliding all over the place.
But probably felt like maybe take a look under priority, maybe turn the heat quickly, but yeah, not much on offer there. Picklum holds priority in the lead. And Bronte's, her goal is really to get back on tour full time. She said she's looking forward to the Challenger Series. Turn her spot back on the top 17. We'll see what happened here.
Yeah, it was a late takeoff. And you can see Bronte just gets to her feet here. Tries to get this heel side rail engaged. She gets right up. Just sort of comes to the section late. Almost like she was stuck between two turns, you know, between like a vertical snap and a hook under the lip. And she went in the middle. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
So Bronte still searching under Molly's watch. Things started off in a pretty radical way just for battling for position. Molly get called on the block. And then Bronte taking her opener at a 3.5. Picklum now has got some room to move. Forehand hook, tried to sweep it off the top again. And she'll get credit for one carve there. With now 19:10 on the clock in this first quarterfinal, world number 1 still in the driver's seat, but the locals got plenty of room and a lot of support on the cliff right here at main break. Be right back for more after this.
Okay, that in a nutshell explains what's coming. Betty Lou is all fireworks. She's like a spicy one. So I think she's gonna be the main driver in the sense of like just spicing it up, of like, she don't care. She's like, he's gonna do whatever she wants to get what she wants. And then all of us are like, well, we'll do that too then. This new generation don't lack confidence, and we're all gonna push each other like crazy.
You can check out one-on-one right now on worldsurfleague.com, featuring world number 1, Molly Picklum. Really enjoyed that conversation with Molly just the other day. She's awesome. She adds so much flavor to the tour. I love her confidence. I love how much she's willing to learn. She's in such a great place, and she is really funny. We cracked up a lot of outtakes there.
Yeah, good stuff, Joe. And, you know, she would be getting under the skin, I would think, of some of the more established, you know, veterans on the women's side, and they'd be going, gosh darn it, what's this little upstart doing with the yellow jersey, you know? So, but, you know, we keep saying it time and time again. She's got the talent to back it up.
This is Bronte McCauley representing the locals here in WA, completing 2 turns with a lot of foam to deal with. This time she was steady on her rail. Great job there. McCauley chasing a 6.4. Always benefited having a father as a shaper as well, and also getting boards from Darren Hanley over the years. Always understanding her equipment so well at a very young age. And just managing her heat here under priority. Just tried to get a few waves under Molly's watch. And then with Picklum getting the 4.07, she had a little bit more room out there, Rich.
Yeah, she did. Allowed her to tap into some rhythm on that wave and really connect those turns. Because really at the moment, this heat's still wide open. Nothing major has been really laid down. Let's take another look at Bronte's wave here. So a bit more patient off the bottom. Gets a nice slice off the top here. Keeps projecting down the line. And again, having to deal with that foamy section, but gets to the finish, gets the completion. An important like moment in this heat for sure.
Molly Picklum adjusting her rail. And now fitting in a section to throw a little off the top. Nice bottom turn, more momentum on the second effort, and now hitting the end section hard. A tough section to ride away from. Somehow yellow still standing through all that turbulence. Molly trying to show the panel that she had control. She knows she's got a lot to deal with a local hero named Bronte McCauley. Felicity Palmatier, how much support's out there for the local hero?
Yeah, that's right, guys. I am on the hill here, and it's absolutely chockers. We've got so much support for Bronte, and I'm actually going to argue she's probably got the most experience out of any of these women on tour. I mean, she's grown up surfing this wave since she was about probably 10 years old. She surfed state rounds out here. She surfed in the Margaret River Classic. But not only that, she's also got her dad, Dave McCauley, who won out here in '89. So that's a wealth of experience, and all these guys behind us are like so excited to see Bronte do well. So yeah, the feel out here is electric, and we're pumped.
That is so cool, Felicity. It's always special to have a local story getting into the main event. But as you said, Bronte with so much experience, could she go all the way and win this one for Margaret River?
Yeah, well, last year she put in an amazing performance. You know, she just kept having heat after heat with an, you know, backing it up. Her backhand's so amazing out here. So, you know, she finished third last year, and I don't see why she can't go all the way this year. She's looking in form. So, yeah, all these guys are here to support, and, yeah, we're all backing Bronte.
Felicity, more than the results and stats, what about her surfing? What does she bring to main break?
Look, Bronte brings experience, which she's got more experience out here than any of the other women on tour. I mean, she also brings such precision on her backhand, and being on your backhand on the right out here actually allows you to get so tight in the pocket. And you see, usually the surfers who are natural footers, they actually are sort of forced to go out on the face of the wave and do these carves as their first turn. But Bronte can really load up on her backhand, get nice and low and square that section, which is, you know, we've seen her do in the past, and we've seen her get those excellent scores.
On you, mate. Thank you so much, Felicity Palmatier, with that local crew that is just backing McCauley to try to upset world #1, as we see what happened here last to Molly Picklum. Her final turn deemed incomplete.
Yeah, it was about 90% there, but 90% is as good as a zero. Really, when it comes to completion. So she did so well to hang on, came through all these whitewater plumes, and you could see she was trying to sell it with the little fist pump. But really, the judges want to see a couple of seconds of the surfers riding out. So let's look at the takeoff. Almost got caught on her heels there. The board is jumping around all, you know, all over the place, really, just under her feet. Now she settles in. And eyes up this section, gets this first carve. You can see the board not really knifing on the rail, still staying fairly flat, but she got to that section really well. A little bit of air as she reconnected. And, well, she's in a washing machine right here, just trying to battle through. And you can see right here, just falling off the back. She just sunk into the foam, and she needed to ride out in front.
McCauley fits in a nice backhand turn. Good timing before the face got full. Fills in the gaps, a little carve, little slap on the open face. Now a little bit more of a lip right there. She'll be incomplete on that effort. First turn was timed well. And doesn't need much. 3.83 puts the wild card out in front. Speaking of goofy foots that we've been enjoyed watching for a long time, this is going to be a special treat on the Boost Mobile Stay Connected call. Paige Hareb, welcome to the show. So great to see you once again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
What's the latest? Fill us in on your life. You've been getting good waves. What's been happening?
Oh, it's always good in NZ. We've pretty much had waves. I live on the west coast here, and it's been pretty consistent the whole time. Not as good as what Margie's is looking like at the moment, but yeah, still pretty nice.
Oh, I bet. So cool when you qualified for the tour. Events started popping up in your home country of New Zealand. You made such a big mark of about 8 seasons on the championship tour. But speaking of events, what about Margaret River? I know this wave is very special for you. Probably remember being on the podium like it was yesterday. Before we relive that moment with you there, maybe talk to us about Bronte's performance out here.
Oh, Bronte, I've known her for years, and another fellow goofy footer. I remember watching her when she made the finals here, was it a year or two ago? And yeah, it was pretty special to see. Yeah, she's obviously got a lot of experience, and just seeing her backhand in form on that right-hander is pretty special to watch.
Speak to your backhand at main break and that special memory from competing in the West.
Oh, yeah, I can barely remember it. It was so long ago. But yeah, this was pretty much the event that helped me qualify for the World Tour. So yeah, very, very special memory. And yeah, I loved just the rawness of it, and the West Coast kind of reminded me of home Yeah, so we kind of had a bit of everything as well. We had a couple of big days and a small day. We surfed on the south side, which I don't think's happened for a few years now. There was a couple of sharks around, and yeah, we had it all back then.
That was a special memory, a great win for you in your career, but more recently, coming off another win over in Nias. Congratulations. When I look at that highlight reel of that victory, gosh, it looked like the dream tour. So perfect out there.
Yeah, thank you. That was, super special, and just to have two of us out there surfing was incredible, and it's such an amazing wave, and it probably should have been on the world tour, but I was happy to have it to myself.
Ambitions now for you, Paige, all those years on the championship tour. Are you looking to make a dent on the Challenger Series and come back? What are your goals at this stage?
Yeah, I'm gearing up for the first Challenger Series at Snapper in a couple of weeks' time, and watching this event and all the girls, it's getting me super excited, and I know there's going to be some big names there that I'll be up against, but I'm looking forward to it, and starting fresh again, so hopefully it's a good year.
I love your longevity of your career and still winning major events. I'm backing you in the Challenger Series, and I think your last year full-time on tour was 2019. There's been a few changes. You're used to finishing your season at Honolulu Bay. Now it's all about pipeline, all about heading to Tahiti. We've got this mid-season cut. We've got a Rip Curl WSL Finals. A lot going on in a short period of time. What's your take on where we stand with pro surfing now?
Yeah, far out. We had it easy. It's pretty crazy now, and I felt for the girls missing out on the cut this week. It's pretty tough, and it is good. It makes women's surfing has improved heaps, and it makes it exciting for us to watch. But yeah, at the same time, if I was back there, I know I probably wouldn't like it.
We're so thankful for the time, Paige. Thanks so much for calling in, and best of luck on the Challenger Series. Can't wait to have you back on the championship tour.
Cool. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Richie.
Cheers. Paige Hareb, she's going to be solid. So much experience, still winning events. Great longevity. Loved when events started popping up in her country. She has so much backing from where she comes from in Taranaki and all of New Zealand. We'll see her back in just a matter of moments as we just came off a wave from Molly Picklum, world #1, chasing a 5.22. Bronte did get the score that got herself out in front.
Yeah, real seesawing battle now, and Bronte McCauley with the highest single wave score, that 667, and just backed it up again, so out in front, but a narrow lead. So let's see if Molly Picklum can take it back here. Good looking wave. It's a better turn. The first one just connecting and getting that rail engaged a little bit deeper. The second one snaps back into the power source, but just the two turns, Joe, as that wave just completely peters out towards the end section.
As you see the kind of day that we're experiencing out here, beautiful weekend we've had in the Margaret River region. And look how much room you have to move. An amazing event site. Some of the top chefs in the world are really hooking up the world's best. They get the little bonus, get out of the water of a heat win, help themselves to some barbecue like lobster and some of the best food you can imagine. Completely set up, Red Bull Athlete Zone. You see the sauna down there, the ice bath, and then also just pristine beauty everywhere you look up and down this coastline. 5:30 on the clock in this first quarterfinal. Let's break this one down in the Harvey Norman recap paddle battle to kick things off. Molly got called for the block and then opened up with her first wave ridden. 5.83, still her best so far.
Yeah, still, Molly feel like she's really yet to hit her straps in this heat. And our women here just trying to really identify what waves are going to give them the opportunity to open up at a very smooth and calculated approach here from the goofy footer, Bronte McCauley, and that turn there, possibly for me the turn of the heat so far. She comes all the way through to the inside, just a series of backhand hooks. I think this was the one where she got just caught up, but that score would have gone way higher if she had just completed that final move. This is live action.
Molly Picklum up and out. And at the start of the heat called for a block, but no interference, just started the priority rotation. As we look at a bigger set coming through, out the back.
Whoa.
We haven't seen one of these in a while. Still a ton of energy in the Indian Ocean today.
Yeah, like this is closed out pretty much from south side all the way through to main break. And, well, you got to call that a 8 to 10 foot wall of water there.
As soon as you think a swell might be decreasing, and all of a sudden it keeps you on your toes. That happens all the time out here. Start having a conversation with your friend, and next thing you know, caught by a big set right on your head. McCauley getting washed through as you see her famous father finish number 3 in the world twice. Her boyfriend always supporting her as well.
Where's Bronte?
Yeah, Dave would just be calculating the time here, thinking, okay, there's enough time for one more wave. The girls are a little out of position here. Probably take them 30-odd, 45 seconds to get back into the takeoff zone here, get back settled into where they need to be in position. And Bronte's got the outside track and the priority and the lead.
And Dave, just the ultimate competitor.
Oh, man. He was really good.
Known as a machine in heats, never made mistakes. Carissa Moore jumping into the ocean, her happy place. Rinsing that one off. She prepares for a Lakey Peterson in quarterfinal number 2. The 5-time world champ taking on Lakey. They've got a lot of history. I think they've had 18 championship tour matchups. They both bring out the best in each other. It's dead even coming into this quarterfinal, 9 wins apiece. They've always just had battles. It wasn't one running away from the other at different eras of their career. They basically trade wins and really push each other to the limits. A big one coming up next, especially for Lakey Peterson's hopes of making the cut.
Yeah, it's again, you know, she got herself out of trouble yesterday with a last-ditch effort on her final wave, got the score, got through, kept the hopes alive. But she is up against one of the most decorated and fiercest competitors on the women's side. This is going to be a tough matchup.
Down to the 2-minute mark, and Picklum doesn't have priority and still needs a 5.22. And McCauley's trying to go 3 in a row with semifinals. Let's see if the yellow jersey can turn things around through the inside, and has to throw that one away.
Yeah, it was just a smaller inside wave, and you could sort of tell that the board didn't really fit in with the wave. I feel like Bronte's taken a longer board out in this heat to try and deal with all the bumps and the chop and these bigger sets, but on that smaller wave you could see she struggled to really get the board turning off the tail. So she'll be looking and hoping that a decent set comes in with at least 2 or 3 waves in it.
Bronte McCauley doing a great job as a wild card, making a big dent in this contest already. Remember, beat Carissa Moore and Steph Gilmore back-to-back rounds last season, and now she has world number 1 up against the ropes. This event so important to the West Oz community, so important to the McCauley family. Bronte's starting to move outside a bit, seeing a couple lines coming through.
Yeah, there might be 1 or 2 waves in this, Joe, and well, Bronte's got to be careful that Molly doesn't just sneak on that inside and find a nice little peak, but counting down 30 seconds to go. Is they're going to get here on time?
Bronte now identifies that Molly Picklum is hunting around under her watch. So we'll see if she tries to sit right next to her. Still, Bronte just kind of playing her own game, holding position and priority, and a nice lead over world number 1.
That's all she wrote, I think.
Into the countdown. Bronte McCauley getting a buzzer beater in the trials final to earn her spot into the main event, and look what she's done. 3 straights into the semifinals at the championship tour level at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. Her father with a high five to Mick McAuliffe, and also Bronte's longtime boyfriend, and the whole McCauley family and WA are celebrating the Goofy Foot, willing her to potentially win as a wild card this year. Such a solid heat. It was scrappy in the beginning, and Bronte did a good job to put that backhand in such a good spot on main break.
Yeah, she really did. And, you know, there's a little bit to break down there, I think, for both the women in that heat, just in terms of wave choice and what they could do better. And I think that's something that happens after every single heat. You come in and you go, what could I have done better? Is it, you know, is there something I can learn from that experience? And that's where our coaches come into play.
Bronte McCauley moves on to the semifinals and will take on the winner of quarterfinal number 2. Five-time world champ headlines the matchup. Carissa Moore versus Lakey Peterson. The Western Australia Margaret River Pro is brought to you by Tourism Western Australia, official tourism partner of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. By Bond U, not for profit and not to conform. Bond University exists for you. By BioGlam, official vitamin partner of the WSL Australia. By GWM, exclusive category partner of the WSL Australia. And by Hydrolyte, official oral rehydration partner of the WSL Australia. WA is incredible. Sunny day, a lot of sunshine there, and still some happiness coming out of world number 1, Molly Picklum, who was just eliminated by the local wild card named Bronte McCauley, who's had a lot of appearances in this event, and in 3 in a row, she's made at least the semifinals. That's where she's peaked. Will this be the year where she gets to the final and has a chance to win? We will find out very soon. Let's get started. Lakey versus Carissa. Peterson getting the opening ride of this heat. Finds herself at the end section and will create some space. Moving that board very quickly. Very inspired in this battle. Had an exciting clutch performance yesterday evening against Tatiana Weston Webb. But the anticipation builds now that she has Carissa Moore to deal with.
Yeah, this is a big matchup here, and I don't think Carissa would feel like she's hit her peak out in this event yet either. I feel like she's got more to give. She's got another couple of gears to reach just with her surfing, and Lakey's, she's gonna have to really lift her performances as well if she's gonna take down Carissa.
Interesting situation here when we discuss the midseason cut, Richie. Lakey can control her destiny. If she wins this heat and beats a 5-time world champ, she'll make the cut. If she goes down in this heat, it's not over for her chances. It's just out of her hands, and she has to hope some things go her way. Remember, we've got a few situations unfolding, especially with Sally Fitzgibbons in the mix. Let's go to Lakey's start here.
Yeah, good inside wave here. Cuts under the lip on the first turn. Just avoids the second one, gets to the third, and then she gets a bit of work done through the inside section here, up and over the foam a couple of times. You know, the judges, we know that they like those big open face turns done as far out the back, close to the takeoff zone as possible. So those inside little foam hits, you know, there's maybe 0.2 of a point in them. But yeah, she got to work on that wave. It's not going to be a huge score, but definitely, as they say, getting the feet in the wax and just starting to settle the nerves.
Year start off at Pipeline, and after Pipe finished, Carissa was world number 1, Lakey equal 3rd in the standings. And things just changed a little bit for Peterson, some tough results to follow, and made this one a little bit more stressful coming into event number 5 than she'd hoped it would be. But she's motivated, loves her sports, loves playing golf, tennis, you name it. So she likes the challenge to really push her athleticism mentally, physically as well. And just noticing her track record, she's never really feared the big names on tour. And it even featured her best combined heat total in a win at Lowers, the regular season event in the past, over Carissa Moore in a quarterfinals, like a 19.57 combined total for Lakey. So Carissa tends to bring out the best in Peterson. First number, 5.83.
Yep, that's not a bad way to start the heat, and I think the judges spot on in their assessment there. They're leaving some room, and they're going to need to, because I feel like, you know, Lakey gets one of those more open face waves. She's going to really attack. We know that, you know, Carissa will go to the carb, the big power turn, and Lakey will tend to maybe go a bit more vertical in her approach. But that's a good score just to, you know, start getting into the heat, settle the nerves, and you can build on that now. Here goes Carissa.
Carissa with a special relationship with this wave.
That was uncharacteristic. So
even my mind surfing with her, I was expecting a big first turn, a rare stumble, priority right back to Lakey.
Wow, that's not something that you see every day from the world champ. Let's just have a look what went on here. So she just went to pump and start leaning into a bottom turn, and she just got stuck on her toes. I think that's as simple as that. So you can see she's pretty set here, foot on the tail bat. Front foot is centered right on the board. You can see she just hits a little wobble there. She was about to set that rail and go into the bottom turn. She just got caught on her toes. The board stayed a little flat. She didn't get it on rail, and then she just tipped over the handlebars.
Wow, a tough fall for Carissa. Now Lakey's got more room to move here. Late takeoff, and the Californian sets up her opening strike, connects off the lip. Hard off the bottom and connects on that oncoming section. Key thing for Lakey, she's staying on her feet, putting some numbers up against Carissa Moore.
I really loved that transition, Joe, that first turn. It was kind of a two-stage snap that she had to do, but then jumped straight back on the bottom turn and held it all the way through until she got to the second maneuver. Great to watch.
Well done for Lakey Peterson. Remember, a former champ out here, Lakey has featured some of her biggest power carves here on the main break right. So far leading over Carissa Moore. As we just came off a really big heat for the local wild card, McCauley takes out world number 1 as she's hanging out with Stace.
Thanks, Joe. A scrappy one, Bronte. Well done.
Yeah, it was a really scrappy one. I felt like none of us really surfed the way we wanted to surf, but you've got to take those sometimes. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect heat, but take the win for sure.
How do you digest that mid-heat when things really aren't going your way in a performance sense, but you still got to find a way to win, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I fell off on my second turn of my first wave and kind of landed pretty awkwardly on my knee, and I thought I actually hurt my knee, so I was going, oh crap, this could be a bad a bad day, but ended up okay. And yeah, just trying to like stay calm and know that 35 minutes is a long time, and got lots of opportunities with the jet skis, so yeah, just trying to just relax a bit, really.
I know Molly is world number 1, but she's still a grom to you.
Yeah, Molly's classy. I ended up flying to Brazil with her last year, and we hung out a bit, and yeah, she's just a great person, really funny, pretty confident, and just a typical Aussie larrikin, really. She's a crack up.
Well done, Bronte. On to the semis. Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
We love that. Thank you, Stace. Bronte McCauley taking down the Grom, who happens to wear the yellow jersey. So that was a big one there. Molly Picklum shaking things off and getting the debrief from her coach, Glenn Hall.
Yeah, micro looking his Sunday best down here at Coach's Corner.
He is looking sharp.
Looking quite dapper, indeed.
He knows what he's doing. He knows he's on camera quite a bit these days. Yeah, but he's pretty honest with Molly. Goes straight to the mistakes. What did she learn? He actually has her write things down of what she wants to improve on after every heat she performs in, win or lose.
Oh, that was such a good snap for Lakey Peterson to open up here. And I just loved how she went into the transition. So let's watch it again. So comes up, right up high in the pocket here, hits the lip. Then she does a bit of a redirect and then re-engages with the face and then holds this line, holds the speed, accelerates using every part of the back of the board to get up into the lip again. And, you know, we keep harping on about it. That two-term combination, the judges love it.
Carissa Moore, after the stumbles, looking to get on the board. There's a nice sweep from Riss. The Hawaiian lights up a big section. Classic Carissa Moore. Now a solid one setting up for Lakey. Sets up a beautiful bottom turn, finds her way down the open face on the carve, drills that lip section. Lakey's got her end section. Can she ride away? Staying low, and she's got it.
Pumped up. Wow, this is starting to heat up. What an amazing heat. Carissa starting to find her groove. That last wave was a pretty good one. But Lakey just finding another gear and finding the bigger waves at the moment, Joe.
Couldn't imagine a tougher draw for Lakey to have. Remember, if she wins this heat, she'll make the cut. If she loses, it's not over. Back to this start here.
Oh, great carve down off the face. And then back up into the lip, so good variety between the two maneuvers, and then gets the final hit off that oncoming section, and Lakey fist pump, clap, fist pump combo to finish it off.
And then Carissa's best so far.
Yeah, Carissa, look at this. So she started to really wind up and show us what we're used to seeing here. Very strong carve, and that final finishing maneuver, really critical. Just got a little bit of tail release. A bit more emphasis on that turn. She knew she had to finish strong. Watch this here. So right there, the fins just sort of get free from the lip of the wave, and then she brings it down, total control, and she will start building now. You know, that was an odd, you know, fall right at the start, and Riss would have had to just kind of wipe that off and go, no, you know, let's just forget about that. And she definitely, you know, picked up her form on that next wave.
Carissa feels cozy here in the West. Has a lot of comparisons to home, traveling with her husband, enjoys connecting with local families like the Sheridans. Sandra Sheridan, longtime regional pro surfer and global pro surfer, and always hangs out with them, and just feels like a second home for Riss, along with the great waves, the great food. This feels like a destination she'll always return to, even when her career wraps. Hopefully not anytime soon, but maybe in the next 20 years or so.
Yeah, well, the longevity of the modern day professional surfer, it's almost infinite, really.
Yeah.
Go for as long as you can.
They lead such healthy lifestyles. As you take a peek at Carissa's support crew.
There's Mitchie Ross with the hat on.
He's a pretty funny guy. Great in the water. Real good surfer, loves basketball, loves telling stories.
He does. Mitch brings such good vibes, but he also brings a real wealth of knowledge, and you know, it's never wishy-washy. The advice he gives his athletes, it's all bang, here it is, here's what I think you should do, and let's focus on this. But certainly, you know, part of a coach's job description is to make the athlete comfortable, make them feel good, make them feel like ready to go the second they hit the water, and he's doing a great job with Carissa over the years.
Always important to stay confident at all times. Carissa will work with sports psychologists as well. A guy named Daniel who surfs Rocky Point all the time. They always just talk things over, make sure she's mentally confident, ready to compete. Last score for Riss comes in at an 8.5. Big number in the excellent range. Combination is broken, but last of Lakey still factoring in here. Lakey already has a 7.83. and she'll definitely be improving on a 5.83. So just like they always do, they put on a show. 9-9 in previous matchups between these two athletes. A lot on the line for Lakey. If she makes this heat, she makes the cut. If she loses to Carissa Moore, it's not over yet, and we'll keep you posted on Lakey's situation, but she can control her destiny if she keeps herself in the lead.
Yeah, and I think there's 8 spots filled up on the women's side, so that 10 minus 8, 2 more spots left, Joe, and yeah, we'll see it on play potentially in these quarterfinal heats right now.
Yeah, you're feeling for the pressure of Lakey Peterson. She's handling it well. We got Sally Fitzgibbons, who's kind of trying to come from deep on the rankings. And if anyone can do it, a veteran like Sal can, who's won this event before. Feeling for surfers like Gabby Bryan right on that cut line. We'll see what happens. Last score in for Peterson, 7.73. Well done for Lakey. Carissa now needs a 7.06.
Wow, this is a great heat. You know, these girls are going, you know, wave for wave, score for score. As soon as Lakey posts a decent one, Carissa ups the ante, and now Lakey's answered back with another fantastic wave.
Both surfers starting to paddle out the back. Look at these waves starting to stack up. You can see all the lumps on the wave with that changing of the wind direction, but still a ton of scoring potential as we're talking about 7s and 8s at the moment in quarterfinal 2. It's up to Carissa to get into position and decide what she wants to do with priority. Both surfers going straight over this first one. You can see this giant playing field that is main break, really far off the beach and that cliff and that staircase where you'd pass Carissa and Lakey's name as former champions of this event. Quarterfinal number 2 with a lot on the line. Will Lakey keep her lead and do it herself and make this midseason cut? We'll find out right after this Bonsoy Brew break.
So we're here for the Western Australia edition of Rising Tides here at Surfers Point in Margaret River. And we've been blessed today with really good waves. It's beautiful conditions. It's big waves out there, actually.
It's actually really solid out there today, and they are suited up, ready to go.
We never get waves like that where I'm from, so to see all the girls out there and actually taking off in the peak, it was really cool to see.
Like, you have to sit deep to catch the good ones, so then you risk getting pumped by set.
I think it was fun and a little scary, but not too scary.
Rising Tides is such a good opportunity. You get to surf with girls and pro surfers.
I was a young girl once, and I also had great heroes, great role models to look up to, and yeah, it means the world.
What a great opportunity for little local legends like Kayla James that got to meet her heroes and not just meet them, but surf with them. That's the next step. You remember when you meet your sporting idols when you're a kid, but actually get to participate together in a surf session, get advice, ask them a million questions. And those young grommets were nonstop with their questions about tour life to like surfers like the GOAT, Stephanie Gilmore. Love this edition of the WSL Rising Tides. And it was pumping that day, like they mentioned in that piece. We showed up with a lot of swell and great conditions, and oh, those young kids absolutely charged.
Oh, wow, that's super cool. And, you know, under the tutelage that day of some of the world's best women's surfers. But yeah, I remember, you know, when the Coke Classic used to come to town down at Manly, and I was just a young grommet, and I'd skip a couple of days to school, and you'd see all the pros practicing out there. We didn't have the opportunity to go and hang out with them, and programs like this just didn't exist. You know, you'd paddle out and just try and get eyes and get a hello out of one of them. That's about as close as you got. So, you know, it's great that our professional surfers, both on the men's and women's side, are giving back so much to the communities and the local board riding clubs, and really encouraging, you know, a new generation of surfers into the ocean.
Who was that first surfer that you were kind of awed about seeing in person?
You know, Occy and Tom Curran, when they came to Manly, was pretty special. You know, I'd obviously, you know, watched Barton Lynch, who was Manly local, so I was fortunate enough to see him and be able to surf with him a few times. You know, but when the circus came to town, it was just unbelievable. You know, Curran and Occy were my favourite surfers, so yeah, I just got a couple of autographs back in the day, and yeah, and then, you know, went on to surf with Ock on tour, and it was pretty special.
That is so cool. I remember one day at Salt Creek, Evan Slater brought Lisa Anderson down there. I think they're doing a feature for one of the mags, and we couldn't believe how fast she was going.
Yeah.
She was just absolutely dominating the lineup. Everyone stopped surfing, it felt like. Watch Lisa put on a show. Lakey Peterson, Carissa Moore still with 12.5 on the clock in this quarterfinal. Winner goes on to take on Bronte McCauley, but I think where we are standing now is just following Lakey and her role to make the midseason cut. She's still sitting in the right place, choosing priority on this one. Can she better one of her sevens? We'll see what she does on her opening section here. Lays down a down carve. Peterson out in front again. Good looking sweep. Nice track approaching down the line, and she will hit it off the top with the air jump. And Lakey's been solid on her feet. Carissa is coming, and she goes down again.
Yeah, wrist just got stuck on a rail there in between the little ridges at the top of the wave. But Lakey Peterson got to the finish, got the completion, just checking the feet there, maybe came in contact with the reef. She'll make her way to the jet ski, have another look, make sure there's no open wounds there. She's looking good, Joe. She's in great form. She's not really showing any signs of you know, nerves or of surfing defensively. She's really attacking these sections. That was a great kind of lengthy carve and a snap to back that up, and a third on the inside. Perhaps staying a little bit conservative on the rotation on the final hit, but you know, at this point now, you can see great technique there. Staying quite tall through the carve. Now she gets nice and low on the bottom turn. And just wrapping that board all the way around, and then Carissa on a bigger wave outside, and you can see just a couple of ridges at the top of the wave there, and she kind of got stuck in between them, wasn't able to bring the board back around.
So interesting seeing Carissa fall on her opening ride off the bottom and then losing a carve, which she's so reliable with, especially in main breaks. So the 5-time world champ, couple mistakes in this heat. She's still out the back, so she has priority, needs a 7.06. 9 wins apiece with these two. They bring out the best in each other, and they got to where they are today in a completely different fashion. Carissa representing Oahu, Lakey representing California. By the time Carissa was 12, she was honestly unbeatable in the NSSA. And Lakey didn't start surfing until she was 12.
Oh, wow.
So completely different paths as amateurs. And Lakey featured her movie 0 to 100 because she kind of became a pro surfer overnight. She had just an instant connection with riding waves, and She began winning early. First run of the qualifying series, she's like, oh, I've got to figure some things out. I've just made the tour. Met up with surfers like Mike Parsons. Learned a lot. Became a world title threat. And it's been a special story watching her grow in front of the global spotlight. She's got Micro in her corner for this event. And whatever they talked about before this heat certainly paying off.
Yeah, you'd have to think that one of her big weapons is just her competitive nous and determination. You know, the talent's obviously there, and really athletic in the way she attacks the wave. And well, Carissa, she's going to have to find a decent wave here. 9 minutes to go, and just doing the calculations. When you're sitting in a heat, you're thinking, okay, 9 waves, 9 minutes to go. I've still got time for 2 waves here, but I'm going to need a set to come because, you know, there's maybe 4 or 5 minutes between each set. So Rish, she's going to have to make this next one count. Been really polarizing in terms of her scoreline. Nothing above a 1, but then she's got that 8.5. So, you know, lacking that backup number. But, you know, you got to think that the experience of Carissa will come into play here. She'll find a good number, but a 7.6. She's going to have to really work hard for that score.
8:30 on the clock in this quarterfinal. That means we're getting close to crowning our champions. Let's get an update on the Bailey's Ladder leaderboard with Kaipo.
Thank you, Joe. Yep, I'm back up on my sturdy Bailey's Ladder once again. And let's just take a look at what's coming up for the men's in the quarterfinals. Heat number 1, look at this. A rematch from the WSL 2021 finals. Felipe Toledo against Gabriel Medina. That is how we're going to start it off. Heat number 2, quarterfinal number 2. Let's see if Joao Chianca can keep a hold of that yellow leader's jersey. If he wants to do so, he's got to get by Connor O'Leary. Heat number 3, quarterfinal 3, Griffin Colapinto going up against Baron Mamiya, who's been gaining momentum throughout this entire event. And then my favorite, we're going to finish off quarterfinal number 4, Ethan Ewing, John Florence. That is going to be a fire heat. Again, thank you to Bailey's Ladder. Stable, keeps me elevated. We'll see if we get into the quarterfinals today.
Good man, Kaipo. Wow, what a look at that final series. Brought to you by Bailey's Ladder. And when Kaipo gives us that read, he actually stays on the Bailey Ladder for a while because he can enjoy the surf check from up there, enjoy the conditions, talk to the fans. 7 minutes on the clock during that piece with Kaipo. We saw Lakey get a wave, but she ended up just kind of fishing for something. A 3 throwaway scores. Carissa still has priority. Here's the Harvey Norman recap. Remember, Carissa started off with a stumble on her bottom turn. Lakey went right into action. 7.83 is her best number.
Yeah, Lakey's been really busy in this heat, finding a ton of good waves. Carissa just with the 1, but it was a really strong one, and off the strength of that finishing turn, really critical. The turn of the heat so far, 8.5, but the consistency in this one, it goes with Lakey Peterson. She's just finding these waves that are allowing her to do multiple turns all the way through to the inside. And you can just see how much this heat means to her. The emotions starting to bubble to the surface. And have a look at this set, Joe.
Holy
wow.
smokes, here we go. Paddle to the horizon as fast as you can. There's going to be some duck diving happening here. How deep can you go with that mountain of whitewater? Thing is, it'll drag you back really far, pull you out of position. Wow, they did a good job managing that first wave of the set. One more landing on wrist. There's Lakey right underneath her. And for Lakey, this is exactly what she was hoping for. Maybe not being underwater, but that Carissa wouldn't have a choice of the set to work with. And so nothing's changing there.
No, it's amazing how time flies, especially when you're sitting in the water with a jersey on and you need a wave. Time seems to go twice as fast when you're out there, and all of a sudden we're at 5 minutes now. So Carissa, you know, she will need to get a wave in the next minute if she's to have 2 shots at this. Otherwise, it's all going to come down to just one more wave, and that's when you really start to feel the pressure.
And still such a heavy situation with Carissa having that big 8.5. For Moore chasing a 7.06, that's standard operation for Riss. who happens to be the youngest world champ ever, got her first of 5 titles when she was just 18. Always a phenom. Was traveling the world while she was still finishing high school at Punahou School, and has turned into one of the all-time greats. Wears number 10 because she's always striving for perfection. As she could have an opportunity here, chasing a 7.06. Carissa moving into position, and she will commit. Rolling in with a whitewater. Controls the takeoff, looking a little wobbly off the bottom again. But she's able to throw down a frontside carve. So managing the looseness of that board under her feet. There's some turbulence there. And fits in a climb. So conditions, equipment, there's something that Carissa's trying to work out right now, Rich.
Oh, wow, this is pretty gnarly right now. You know, just under 4 minutes. My gut feeling, was it a 7.06? She did so well to ride that wave. You know, she was jumping all over the place as you watch the bottom turn. Late takeoff, so really hard to get set. And you can see here, look at the board jumping all over the place. There's so much bump on the face, but that was a good turn. And then she resets here, another nice open face carve. There is definitely a power advantage here for Carissa Moore, but that one big special moment where I was kind of you know, moved to emotions, it sort of wasn't really there. So, you know, it's going to be tight, but maybe just under what she needs.
Scores coming through for Carissa Moore. Not enough, 6.17. So Carissa paddles back out, still in second, needing a 7.06. So even though she was able to maintain control after the wobbly bottom turn and threw down a big carve, got a decent number, but not enough to change the lead. Lakey with priority and getting a little bit closer to getting past the midseason cut.
I'm just, well, I'm getting a sore neck, Joe, because I keep looking over my shoulder to see if there's lines coming, and I think there is. So it'll be whether Carissa can get out on time. We know that, you know, Lakey's going to go into a defensive role here. She's going to try to hold her off with priority. But, you know, these sets are rhythmic and coming through 2 and 3s at a time.
Here we go. Opportunity decision time for Lakey. She's going to identify if Carissa has a chance of taking a wave, because she'd rather just hold priority and manage the sets. She won't go unless she absolutely has to here.
Is this one going to stand up? It sometimes looks like it's going to be a good set, and then it slides under the peak. Wow, she's been able to pick it up.
She's going to let wrist go. She takes it, pulls into the pit, and makes it. Carissa goes off the top and bounces vertically, and the 5-time world champ just pulled off a miracle moment under priority.
Oh my goodness.
Lakey held priority, decides not to go.
Wow.
Chero celebrating.
It's not over yet. Still a minute 25 on the clock. We don't know what the score is going to be, but that was certainly an extremely high-risk wave where Carissa Moore tucked into the barrel. And, you know, if you'd said there were barrels out there right now, you'd say, no, you're talking nonsense. But this wave just completely cups out. Lakey chooses not to go. Carissa had no choice but to pull in. And not only pulled in, but came straight out and belted the lip to get to the finish. So this will be a great view from above, Joe.
How critical was that? Pulled in perfectly and then smashed it. What a combo of turns. First the barrel, then a big vertical hack. That was impressive.
Wow. Well, just when you thought Lakey Peterson had complete control over this heat, the world champ finds a rare barrel, completely disappears from view, and manages to squeak out the door and then pounds this end section up and over the lip. And have a look at this score.
9.63, an emotional moment for Carissa Moore as she was having some trouble just setting her rail in that heat. Didn't have priority. Lakey doesn't go, and Carissa Moore takes this one off Lakey Peterson.
Oh my gosh.
In one of the most magical waves only a 5-time world champ can do. Remember, if Lakey won that heat, she made the cut. It's not over yet for Lakey. She still could hang in there. We're gonna have to see what Sally Fitzgibbons ends up doing in the quarterfinal.
Lakey gave her that wave too. She could have held Carissa Moore off that wave, and you know, she would be tripping right now, just going, what has just transpired?
Lakey had a long look at that wave as well. She checked it out. I looked at the whole shape of it. She did not see anything going hollow when she pulled back.
Well, it was totally instinctual. Look, have a look at this. Lakey's like, okay, no, I don't think this is worthy. She could have held Carissa off the wave. Lakey had no choice. She had to pull in. And, you know, she just got so much travel time, came out, tagged the lip on the end section, and comes up with one of the highest single ride totals of the event so far.
Unbelievable. Carissa's reaction was absolutely stellar. Looks up to everyone on the bluff and all the reactions in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. Gabriel Medina, Molly Picklum, just in disbelief of what just happened. Look at that, completely stunned. The turning point for Carissa Moore, who was just chasing Lakey from that entire matchup. And those are those magical moments of why Carissa turns in.
Oh,
World
Carissa's
title
losing
type
it, man.
heats.
She's just overcome with emotion there, obviously, for, you know, the elation of winning, with the kind of heartbreak of putting Lakey into a vulnerable situation. Like you said, it's nothing certain right now in terms of her qualification, but I feel like Carissa was going, I'm done.
What a heat. Carissa Moore takes on Bronte McCauley in the semifinals. We'll keep you posted on Lakey Peterson's situation on the live rankings. We'll bring in Ronnie Blakey, Rabbit Bartholomew, and Felicity Palmatier for the call.
Matchup. Best of luck, ladies. It'll be a hard act to follow. Biggest number on both sides of the draw, either side of the draw. Was it a 9, 6, 3, whatever?
Steph Gilmore coming up against Tyler Wright.
They've got a long rivalry and they've had a lot of matches together.
It's been quite a journey, but I'm loving it.
Steph Gilmore firing out of the gate soon.
Just vintage Stephanie Gilmore.
Beautiful first 2 turns there.
When she's on, there's no stopping her.
There'll be a lot of feeling in this.
What a matchup this is. A couple of multiple world title holders. Tyler Wright, 2-time world champ. Stephanie Gilmore, 8 world titles to her name. And so much history between these two competitors. And it's relatively close, considering that Steph had a couple more years on Tyler. When Tyler first joined the ranks, she started wrestling Windsor away from the 8-time world champ pretty early on. 14-12 in favour of Steph at the moment. But, yeah, Tyler with a big opportunity here to even up the ledger just a little more.
Yeah, completely. I mean, Tyler has been looking absolutely in form all event, and something's flicked a switch in her head, and she's just looks like she's out there. She's ready to attack. For me, she really is the informed surfer of this event. Steph's put together some really nice waves, some couple of really beautiful moments, but for me, it's been about Tyler so far.
Yeah, Tyler's physically, Bugs, looked very switched on, back to that sort of 100% athlete that we've seen go on and claim a number of championship tour wins, but mentally, her motivation seems up.
Well, you know, Tyler made it pretty clear from the onset, just like last year when she made her intention clear to try to win bells. This year, she wants to be in that Rip Curl Final 5. That's a big deal for her, and she's just been on the outer for the first 2 years of that new system.
So I mentioned that head-to-head history. And when you think about this location, just one meeting for these two surfers. It was the quarterfinals back in 2016. And Tyler did a bit of a number on Steph in that one. Had an excellent heat score total of 16.53. So positive memories for Tyler there. But this is a lineup that can serve up such different conditions. It's a new day, and Tyler's in a different level of form at the moment. But Steph's been impressive. Again, when the pressure's been on, she's managed to elevate her position on the rankings. On the live ladder, already moving up in a 6th spot from the back end of the ratings. It's been a strong effort so far.
Yeah, I mean, well, we saw Steph do it last year too. I mean, she almost didn't make the cut, and then, she, you know, when she needed it most, she made it happen. And that's what 8-time world champions do. I mean, they know how to work under pressure. And I mean, look, she's had some amazing moments in this comp so far. It's just, I'm interested to see how she's going to go now that there's a little bit of onshore crumble on the face of the waves here, because Steph really comes into her own when it's offshore and we get those beautiful long-looking right-handers that Steph can really lay the rail on. But, you know, I don't know how she's going to go now that this onshore waft's coming on. Tyler's been so in form. I mean, it's going to be such an amazing battle, and I can't wait to watch this go down.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to really analyse this from a point of view of their strengths and that, Tyler's first manoeuvre and her finishing manoeuvre have been outstanding, and Steph seems to have done her best work in the mid part of the wave, and they're the waves that she's been looking for.
Yeah, incredible variety in Tyler's surfing, just an assortment of moves she can go to. She's just stockpiled a number of different carving approaches. We saw that big grab rail earlier on in the day, but also strong laybacks, and also really punches through the lip when she drifts those fins. So, you know, she can add that progression as well. Steph, similar to Ethan Ewing, just her approach is poetic. It's a dance, and when it's on, you know, and those rails are clean, it's just hard to match it. It doesn't matter what you're throwing at her. It's just truly captivating, and we'll see what happens on the opening exchange here.
Yeah, and I also think that they'll both just back themselves to put, you know, to lay down their own lines. I don't think they'll go, well, you know, I'm looking at my opponent, I have to lift to another level, I have to do bigger turns. I think so far they would have looked at their points. They're getting rewarded for just being themselves.
Yeah, that's right. It's just an even matchup, and if they do their best surfing, I think we'll see excellent scores from both of them. But obviously it's nice with a heat like this, you know, to move away from that overlapping format and just sit back and appreciate. Bugs, two of the greats here.
These are two of the greats. I mean, if you look at the mix over the last 15 years of surfing, professional surfing, Steph Gilmore, Carissa Moore, Tyler Wright have dominated the World Championships. And two of them are in the water now. As you said, at the head-to-head is amazing. They've had 26 heats together. It's 14-12. I mean, there's nothing in it.
No, it's really close. When you think about heat wins, though, and I mentioned earlier, Steph got on tour and started collecting them a couple of years before Tyler joined the ranks, but 33 CT wins for Stephanie Gilmore, and Tyler Wright famously broke through for her first victory at 14 years of age. It's just ridiculous. I just can't see that record being overtaken.
No, and I think the record before that might have been Steph Gilmore, because she came in as a wild card too. But that one, that was at Lane Beachley's event, for Tyler. And the great thing was that Lane used to give these young grommets a go in the event, but the thing was because they came in as the lowest seed, they went against Lane Beachley in the first round. You know, just how the seedings work, but that's how magnanimous Lane was into, you know, developing that next, and she saw something special in both of these women.
Most definitely, yeah, giving them both opportunities there. But the talent was evident at an early age. You know, Tyler's been competing at a really high level since the age of 14, you know, beating the world's best. It's crazy. So in some ways, I kind of feel like those hiatus years with the post-viral syndrome, while they really stalled her momentum in ripping titles away from Carissa Moore and Stephanie Gilmore, I think in the long run, it's going to give her a bit of longevity and might actually help motivate a big title push this season.
Yeah, well, I spoke about it earlier today, but I listened to that lineup podcast, and it really is one of the best podcasts I've listened to on there. And Tyler really opens up and speaks about, you know, those years that she did have off, and she really had to find out, you know, find that reason why she was doing this, because that's changed over the years. When she first started competing, you know, that reason was that she was so hungry, she's so competitive, the drive was there. But as she's accrued all these accolades over the years, she won her first World Tour event at 14 years old. She's now got 2 world titles. I mean, she's won the Bell. Like, what more can she do? And she has to find out what really motivates her. She took those couple of years to find that out. She's got an amazing team behind her, traveling with her coach, her wife, and her psychologist now, and she's feeling good. But here we go. We have live action.
It's Steph Gilmore who's going to get things started here. Just can't quite set that rail. There's an adjustment that needs to be made. And one surfer that was able to do it in that last heat was Carissa Moore. She was reduced to tears, but they were tears of joy, Stace.
Thanks, Ron. Riss, could you believe your eyes when that wave popped up in front of you?
Well, to be completely honest, I was, when Lakey didn't take it, I was like, well, she didn't take it for a reason. It must not be very good, but you know what? I'll just throw something at the wall and hopefully it sticks. And when I paddled into it, I saw it kind of like bowl out, and I was like, okay, well, you know, this is my last shot. Might as well just go for broke. And I'm so grateful it worked out.
How's that feeling of coming out through all that white water?
It's one of the best feelings when you kind of shock yourself and you surprise yourself. I feel just really blessed. I felt like the universe kind of gifted me that one and was on my side. So thank you.
It was a great battle, and that wave certainly came at the right time for you.
Yeah, no, Lakey, she's a competitor, an athlete, and a human that I really admire and respect. And she had me up against the wall the whole heat up until that last wave. You know, she's super consistent, super smart, and yeah, it's hard to lose, to have her lose like that, and you know, surfing so well. And she's just I don't like seeing anyone that's a really good friend of mine lose.
It's tough at the top. Well done, Riss. We'll see you in the semis.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a performance. Cheers, Stace. Carissa will now take on Bronte McCauley in the semi-finals, and we're waiting to determine what's going to unfold in that second semi. Steph Gilmore, though, had a real opportunity to drop a big number, and she fell on her first turn. Tyler Wright now gets an opportunity this wave during the interview.
Yeah, beautiful first carve off the top there, and she brings it back through with a layback for the finish. I mean, a smaller wave, but it's got to feel good to get things rolling.
Just no problem on this board, Bugs, and just cutting through those bumps off the bottom.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Tyler. The bumps and lumps of a wave, she'll just slice through them. She'll overpower them, and she's done that at that opening wave, that opening manoeuvre, super strong, and she gets a finishing layback snap for a 7.33. It's a good opener. Don't forget, this heat it must have been far away from a restart, Ron, because, you know, it was 12 minutes into the heat before Steph Gilmore took that first wave, and then as she took the wave, well, this could be a real advantage to her, but she fell.
Yeah, and Tyler made her pay for it, 7.33 to kick things off here, just over 21 minutes remaining. Yeah, you think about the observation that Felicity made earlier. Tyler Wright just looks so sure-footed, even in the bumpier conditions. She's got a very low centre of gravity. Steph, on the other hand, a bit more upright in her stance between turns, and it's going to have an effect on your balance over your board.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, there's positives to both types of surfing, you know. The fact that Steph is a bit taller than Tyler means that she has the ability to get that compression and extension, and the more compression and extension you can get means the more torque you can get off the top, you know. That's why Steph does throw so much spray on those open face calves. But yeah, Tyler being a more compact surfer, and I mean, she's so strong in her legs. I mean, here she is up and riding, but decides to kick out of that one. I mean, she's so strong that she just muscles through these turns, like you were saying, Bugs. I mean, those lumps and bumps, they're no problem for her.
Bit of movement here on the outside. And let's see if Stephanie Gilmore can clean things up. That's one thing she's really been able to do in recent times, is not let those falls get to her. She's been actually really bouncing back nicely. I've absolutely cursed her on that one. But she has been a little more gritty and mentally headstrong, and that was obviously really evident at the Rip Curl WSL finals last year, surfing all the way from that 5th seed to take on Carissa Moore and get the world title.
Well, I mean, that opened up a whole new sphere for Stephanie, because now she goes, well, anything's possible. Like she said last year, she just snuck into through the cut. She snuck into the top 5, and then she went on to the world title. I mean, I don't think anything phases her anymore.
No, what would it? I mean, the legacy, much like Kelly Slater's, is set in stone for Stephanie Gilmore. Anything else is just a bonus at this point, but she's still, you know, when she's on, there's no one better. That was demonstrated last year, and she hasn't had her best stuff just yet in this event, yet she still scored pretty well in the opening round, 15-point heat score total, and did pretty well against Gabriella Bryan earlier on. But Tyler, on the other hand, is coming off the back of a couple of excellent performances.
Yeah, Tyler to me we've said it so many times, but she is really coming into her own. When she stands up, she looks like she means business. She's ready to attack the wave. She's been the most informed surfer, and yeah, she's so hungry because, like you said, Bug, she's missed out on that final 5, and you know, I think she really wants to make it. She's got something to prove, and I'm here for it.
3.67 for Steph Gilmore on that last ride. Just getting thrown off by the white water. So again, just failing to strike a blow on these first 2 rides. Tyler Wright, a 7.33. She didn't want anything to do with that second ride. She had a bit of a look at it though, but it is a throwaway score. 18 minutes to go here. Talk about happy hunting grounds. This has been a fantastic event for Tyler Wright, Bugs. We were just reflecting on her consistency at this venue. It's ridiculous.
I know, so many top 3 finishes. You know, and the consistency at that, you know, pointy end of the tournament is unbelievable.
Yeah, 3 seconds. So she's had 4 finals here. She did get a victory off Courtney Conlog in 2016. So yeah, this is going to be a tough one for Steph Gilmore. When you look at her results here, also pretty impressive. She's had a final here in the past in 2021. She finished 2nd to Tatiana, but she's had 4 third-place finishes as well. So you'd have to give a little bit of an edge at this location to Tyler Wright, and she has taken the edge on the opening exchange. Let's check in with Stacey's found Lakey Peterson.
Thanks, Ron. Lakey, fantastic heat. I really don't know what you could have done at the end there.
Yeah, well, I guess hindsight's 20/20. I should have taken the wave, but I just saw a set out the back, like there was a bomb set, and the wave just looked kind of like, yeah, not much, but she is Carissa Moore, and that's why she's one of the greatest. And I don't know, I guess I'm proud of myself. I did my best, and it's kind of one of those ones. It's like, yeah, what do you do? I definitely tried my best, and I made the best decision at that moment that I thought, and I guess it just wasn't meant to be.
I'd love to share some news that might help with that decision. You've officially made the cut.
No, I haven't. I feel like you're joking with me. I don't even know how that works. I thought Sally had to surf still. Wow, that's, yeah. They kind of said maybe I had just then, and I was like, no, I don't want to get excited because I don't know for sure. But I've been waiting to hear that out of your mouth all week because I've been seeing you.
Graphic looks good up there.
Yeah. I've been seeing you tell everyone all week, and geez, I don't know. I guess, yeah, it's just been an interesting year for me. I really feel like I'm surfing really well. I just haven't been putting it together in heats, and honestly, this event, I feel like I'm just starting to get my mojo back, and I just feel so grateful to make the cut, and yeah, I guess I feel like I do deserve it, and I do deserve to be here, and I really am excited for the second half of the year. I was honestly like, I just don't want to miss J-Bay. I have to go back there. So, nah, that's awesome news. Thanks, Stace.
I'm just the messenger. Well done, Lakey. We're super stoked for you, and absolutely you deserve to be here. Well done.
Oh, what an honour for Stace, though, to be able to let Lakey know that despite the fact that she made the wrong call on that last wave in her heat with Carissa Moore, she has survived the cut. And it is extremely close at the back end of the top 10. And the reason that Lakey edged ahead of Gabriella Bryan is because she had a heat win more, so she might have won a first round heat. But that has put her into that 9th position, and now Gabriella's just sitting nervously watching because Sally Fitzgibbons is still alive and coming up in the next heat. And Sally's got some work to do. If Sally wins the event, or she wins in the next heat, she'll break the tie break with Gabriella Bryan and move into that 10th position. So a very big heat coming up next for Sally Fitzgibbons.
Yeah, and here we're seeing a replay of Steph's wave and 2 nice carves out of the top into the 3rd carve, and she's looking to bring it through to the inside here. Just a nice little tag. And I'm just getting a bit more busy. I'm here for it.
Yeah, she's dropped her best number, 6.17. Looked like she was surfing off the fins a little bit. It's tricky out there at the moment. It's a big adjustment from what they had in the round of 16 bugs, conditions-wise.
Oh, it's really changed a lot now. You know, we're expecting a bit of a ruffle of the texture this afternoon, and it has arrived, but it's still kind of light, Flick, but it's enough to make you think about getting a later wave in the set. And then what we're also seeing was just seeing a lot of these one-off waves coming.
Yeah. One thing when I was down on the stairs, I noticed that you can really see there is a lot more rivets in the wave. You're watching the webcast here. If you're watching at home, it does look quite clean, and I can speak from experience here, it's a long way out there. It catches the wind, and when you take off, I mean, we saw it in the last heat. I looked up at the screen on my break, and I saw Carissa just eat it on a wave where you think, what? How could that even happen? But there's baubles in the wave, there's bumps in the wave that, yeah, we just can't see from here. And so, yeah, definitely be playing into the girls' minds right now.
Well, Tyler Wright is chasing Stephanie Gilmore now. Just needs a 2.51. We're going to take a quick break here. Quarterfinal action will continue at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro right after this.
The Western Australia Margaret River Pro is brought to you by Shire of Augusta Margaret River, strategic partner of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. By Oakberry, fuel yourself with the official acai of the World Surf League Australia. By Bailey Ladders, official ladder partner of the WSL Australia. And by Healthway, strategic partner of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro.
We're here at Margaret River, stop number 5, but the next venue will be over there in Lemoore, California. The Surf Ranch Pro. It kicks off on May 27th, and tickets are now available. So use the code, scan the QR code, and use that code RANCH10 for 10% off your tickets. Memorial Day weekend, it's going to be a big one. The world's best will be on hand, and the forecast looks fantastic.
But can anyone break the Brazilian Storm stranglehold on the ranch?
No, Bugs. Not in my opinion. They're going to have to really step things up, but it's going to be interesting to see. On the women's side, it's a really fair fight, but the Brazilian surfers have just had their way on the men's side with that event. As we go to a replay of Tyler Wright's wave, this one taken during the break flick.
Yeah, 2 nice carves off the top here, bringing it through to the inside section and finishing with another layback. She almost didn't stick that, but yeah, look, scores are coming through.
Yeah, look, they're also, I think, taking into consideration just how difficult it is to thread the moves together now. It's, 7-point ride this afternoon compared to what we saw maybe when the conditions were offshore and clean this morning, Bugs. They've got a different look to them.
They do have a different look, and as I was mentioned before, there's a bunch of one-off waves. So those one-off waves, they carry all the bump and chop on and those rivets and ribs, and it's not too bad, but if we get a set with 2 and 3 waves in it, we'll get a smooth face.
Tyler in the driver's seat at the moment, not just in this heat, but also when you think about the live ladder with Molly Picklum bowing out. Tyler Wright has already assumed that #1 position on the live ladder. Keep in mind, we've still got Carissa charging through heats. So it's not a guarantee that Tyler's going to be in the yellow jersey when we get to the Surf Ranch. But she is looking very sharp at this stage. Couple of 7s to her name. Steph Gilmore already looking for an excellent number.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do know that Tyler and Carissa are in the different halves of the draw, so they can't meet until the final at this stage. But this heat here, this is a real go-forward heat for either Tyler or Stephanie Gilmore, as will be the next heat. Perhaps the next one, a career-defining heat coming up.
Just unbelievable what we saw unfold in the final moments of quarterfinal heat 2. Carissa Moore just under priority, sneaking into a barrel, getting a nice end section hit in for a score right up in the 9s, and overcoming Lakey Peterson. And at that point, we thought, well, Lakey might be in a lot of trouble here. But on a count back, she still maintained a position just above the cut line, edging ahead of Gabriella Bryan on a tie break. And that means Gabriella's in a really tough spot, because Sally Fitzgibbons is coming up in the next quarterfinal. And if Sally wins, she'll jump ahead of Gabriella and take that last place heading into the back half of the season.
And of course, Sally's coming up against Caroline Marks, who has been the form backside surfer really in the women's draw. She's been on fire. How will she handle this little bit of texture and chop on the face, Felicity?
Look, both surfers, Sally and Caroline, to me, they're both looking in form. I mean, Caroline, though, she's a little bit smaller in stature. She's got really strong legs and, maybe a bit more compact in style. And I feel like that's maybe, what Tyler's, it's also Tyler's strength. Look, she's sitting here with 2 7s. I'm thinking maybe this sort of similar thing could be said about Caroline in the next heat. Although Sally, you can see that she is absolutely fighting for this. She's fired up and she knows what she has to do. So will the will of Sally beat the compact style of Caroline Marks?
Yeah, Sally's come to true form at the perfect time to make a charge towards the top 10 here. She looked unbelievable in the early rounds down there at Bells Beach. It's just not as easy for Sal to get to this point in the competition as it was in the early stages of her career. Remember, at one point we were talking about her quarterfinal run, where she went, over 40 events in a row where she cracked the quarterfinal. So she's an incredible talent. Maybe struggling with a little bit of competitive confidence at the moment, but the form's there. I think she's ready to seize this moment. It's going to be a great battle in that last quarterfinal heat.
And the thing that keeps us, riveted to the screen and to the lineup is because anything can happen here at Margaret River. We just saw in the last heat, even though we've got these slide on shore conditions, the best barrel of the tournament.
Amazing. Yeah, just under 6 minutes remaining here as these two greats battle it out. And Tyler Wright, she's kind of executing to plan what has got her to this point in the competition, just not wasting opportunities. I mean, even those two throwaway numbers that she took off on, the second wave, she kicked out of it with authority. She wasn't second guessing what she wanted. She knows exactly what she's after. 2 sevens is solid this afternoon in these kind of waves.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Steph's sitting there with that 6-1-7. I really like the way she surfed that wave. It's just, you know, there's 5 minutes left. There's plenty of time out there to get a wave, and we just saw it in the previous heat. There is excellent scores out there. So I think what you said, Bugs, is we need a set to come through, and they need to let that first wave go through, clean up the lineup a bit, and Steph needs to find one of those ones that's going to give her that bowl, that opportunity to really lay into a nice, smooth carve on the face of the wave.
Let's dive into the Harvey Norman heat recap and get a look at Tyler Wright's rail work in tricky conditions. So comfortable coming off the bottom, really hard.
And that's been the hallmark of her performance throughout the tournament. With that first turn, she's laid down the gauntlet every time. Steph tends to wind up and really get going through this middle part of the wave. Here's a 6-1-7 for Steph. This is her best effort so far. It's been a bit of a quiet heat wave-wise. They didn't get going till the 12-minute mark. But this is another killer blow here, 7.03. Good solid surfing, Felicity.
There's something magic about this board too for Tyler Wright. It just seems to hold a clean line from start to finish. She's pushing off the bottom, really difficult, which is allowing her to get up into the pocket of these rides and really let go of a committed first turn. Steph, on the other hand, just looked a little bit like she was kind of struggling to sink the rail of her board.
Yeah, that's a good pickup. Tyler, the way she's surfing on these waves, she's surfing at a different speed. I think just slightly faster, a little bit more in control, and yeah, just cutting through the ball, especially this afternoon when we've got that little bit of wind chop on the face of the waves. And I mean, that's why her scores are evident of that, you know. She just looks so in control.
Yeah, well, you know, Tyler's well on track. She's got some great results already this year. I guess a first, a second and a third, Ronnie, which is unbelievable. If she moves through here, that's looking so good for that Rip Curl Final 5. Steph Gilmore, she kind of needs to, she probably needs to win this heat to have a good charge at that as well. She came into this event, you know, a little concerned about making the cut. But she's got some great events ahead that really suit her.
Yeah, Bugs, you have spoken about, you know, at points in your career where there was sort of a glass ceiling that you couldn't punch through, and you know, it was the round of 16 for you where you went a number of events in a row. When you did break through to the quarterfinals, did the roll continue, or was it just the relief of actually busting out of that round of 16 that kind of was the goal?
You know what it was more for me? It was more that I just knew that when I got through that round of 16, I went into a mindset to go, I'm on my way to the semis or final minimum. You know, I nearly always got through the quarters at that point. So it was more of a mindset where, oh, I wanted so bad to get through that round.
Because it did feel at this venue, the past couple of seasons, with the cut looming, you know, obviously getting to a certain point in the competition is a big goal for a lot of competitors. And once they reached that, it seemed like it was such a pressure release, but it also somewhat took the big goal away from them a little bit, and we saw them fall out of the mix.
Yeah, well, with the cut there, it's just such a big goal. Obviously, these surfers, you know, they're not silly. They sort of do the math. They know what the results they need to make this cut. So when you have a goal like that, to make, let's just say, round of 16 or quarters, sometimes you can take your foot off the gas. It's almost like a thing of celebrating too early, you know. I mean, the work's not done yet. You still need to charge on, and sometimes that can be hard because you've had this thing that you've, you know, probably not been trying to focus on too much, but subconsciously your brain's just, you know, all you can think about is this cut. So once you make it, you've got to change your mindset. You've got to shift, and you've got to be like, okay, we've got a new goal here. We've got, you know, what is this goal? We're going to make it through the quarters, and then, you know, one step at a time.
You know, it's also, you know, the good thing is about there's 365 days in the year, and you know, as humans, we're able to just wipe it clean for the next year and create a new pattern.
Love it. Yeah, and you know, I think just after her poor start last year, Stephanie Gilmore would have been thinking that coming into this new season, but she just has kind of had a similar run up until this point. She's safe. She's made the cut. She'll be there contending towards the back half of the year, and she's made a big jump, as I mentioned before, already into 6th place on the live ladder, but she'd love an opportunity here to turn in this 8.19, but only 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, nothing coming either. It's nothing there to, I don't see a parachute 9.8 barrel this time.
No, and yeah, Tyler Wright, you know, deserving of this spot in the semi-finals. Another great performance. You know, you could reflect on the 2 throwaway numbers, but when you look at them, they were under priority, and there was not really any points in those rides. So on the waves that had the potential to drop big scores, she was able to do it. And a great moment there between 2 icons of the sport and 2 of the most dominant forces ever in women's professional surfing. Tyler Wright, though, is going to get the jump on Stephanie Gilmore. Their head-to-head history goes to 14-13, and we look forward to that next heat.
That's incredible. What? How close is that? 14-13, an amazing career head-to-head statistic, Rod.
Got a feeling we'll see them match up again at some point throughout the back half of the season. But Tyler charging on to the semis. She's going to take on the winner of the next heat. Sally Fitzgibbons and Caroline Marks are coming up next. Every year you pull into this town, it's like coming home in some ways. It's one of the stops that I think everyone on tour really looks forward to. You've got all that southern energy just powering into Margaret's, uninterrupted. To immerse yourself in that and just remind yourself that you're in one of the greatest surfing destinations that the world has is always a real buzz. Margaret River town itself is a happening zone. There's great energy in the town of Margaret River. Really cool restaurants and cafes and food, but it's just one of those surf meccas that attracts a lot of travelling surfers based on the quality of the surf. It's just the opportunity to find your own little piece of coast to enjoy pretty much every single day. The town just backs up everything that this coastline has to offer. That's the reason I truly love this place. Taking a trip on the Western Australia flight cam, and what a beautiful view it is to take in here at Surfers Point. Main break Margaret River coming alive once again here as we set up our semi-finals on the women's side. One more heat to determine who takes that last spot, who will be taking on Tyler Wright in the second semi-final. We'll find out in around about 31 minutes, but right now we're going to get the word on what's coming our way this afternoon with Stace.
Thanks, Ron. Jesse, we've had a fantastic day of surfing. What's the rest of the afternoon hold?
Yeah, we've had a really good day. This is going to be the last heat of the day, so we're calling off the men's quarters. You know, we're going to potentially have another look tomorrow for sure, but we know that there are good waves coming. There is the front that is definitely coming in as well at some stage today. So we're gonna can it here, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this last heat.
Yeah, lots of exciting action in this last heat coming up. So yeah, can't wait to tune into it. Thanks, Jesse.
You Stace. So this will be the last heat, and it's probably one that we're going to have to digest for a while, because Sally Fitzgibbons surfing for a spot on the CT here up against Carolyn Marks. Sally dropped a 5.83, I should say, on her first ride. She's out the back. Carolyn answering at the moment. What a heat this is. You know, one of the best regular footers up against, as Bug said earlier on, the most informed goofy in this event.
I love watching Caroline surf. She's just such a little powerhouse, and we've heard it so many times before, but she is just reminiscent of a young Ockie. I just love her backhand. Here we go. We have a replay of Sally up and riding and absolutely carving through the face of this wave. And up into the second turn. Nice slash in the pocket there. And she's bringing it through to the inside.
I do like Sally's chances in this heat. We'll see the replay of Caroline's ride here, Bugs.
Yeah, a bit of a flat wave here for Caroline. She gets this turn in here. That's one of her signature turns, but I don't think she's going to get the better of the exchange. I feel it's going to go to Sally Fitzgibbon.
Yeah, it'll be pretty close. You'd think it was one strong turn there, but I was just going to say I like Sally's chances here, just in her ability to fit tight pivoting bottom turns to redirect up into the pocket. It's something that Sal's always been able to do really well. She's got a good compact vertical hit that she can throw our way. You know, something that she has done in recent times is extended her rail turns and found a nice flow between her manoeuvres. But this is an area of her surfing where she's always excelled, and she's had an amazing run of results here in the past. From 9 events, she's taken a win. That was in 2017. She's had 4 third-place finishes and 2 quarterfinals. So she's only missed the final series in 9 runs at it here at Main Break Margaret River twice.
That's a phenomenal record, and she, you know, this is a career-defining heat here. Sally has had a pretty tough go the last 2 years, and she needs a big performance. The ominous thing, though, is that Caroline Marks only got 1 turn on that wave, and she was only half a point short of Sally, who got 3 turns. So that, to me, is a little ominous.
Yeah, that's, you know, something that we picked up on, a trend we picked up on the men's side too. Those big backhand hits have been scoring well with the panel. So you're right, Bugs. That's a real positive for Caroline there, as we see Sally's results. And you know, anytime you're reflecting on when someone didn't go further through the draw, you've got to look at who their opponent was, and only the best at this venue have been able to overcome Sally.
Yeah, I mean, look, the best here, I mean, Tyler Wright, 2-time world champion, Carissa Moore, world champion, Tatiana finished in the WSL finals. I mean, these girls are all, and you know, Stephanie Gilmore again, Tatiana again. These women are the very best. I mean, they've been in that top 5 conversation for a long time. World champions.
Yeah, and bar Steph, all of them have won it. So, you know, like I said, it's only the very best here at Main Break Margaret River that have gotten the jump on Sally. 5.83 on her first ride. A really close answer here from Caroline Marks. Great to see her back. Much like Tyler, we missed her last season. She took some time out, and it's great to see her back and cracking a final herself this season. Got a second to Molly Picklum at Sunset. But yeah, another competitor whose momentum was stalled by the pandemic bug. She was just seemed to be charging towards world title glory in her first couple of years on tour.
Yeah, amazing momentum coming through the ranks. Caroline Marks. I remember, you know, at Durango one day in the back in the Quicksilver Pro days, and her backhand, it was like this word was like, here comes a goofy foot world champion. You know, there was this young girl coming through, and there was such an established order at that time, you know, with Carissa and Stephanie dominating the world rankings, and Tyler, and Caroline just slotted straight in there as a contender.
Yeah, I think at that point, Tatiana was challenging and starting to get some big results. But Tatiana's kind of prospered on the other side of the pandemic. But prior to that, you know, it was Caroline Marks, who came in and started wrestling wins away from those incredible regular footers. 26 minutes to go here, waiting for the second exchange to unfold. It's going to be a big one, you just know it. But right now, we're going to hear from Stace, who's found Tyler Wright. What a performance that was, Stace.
Thanks, Ron. Indeed. Tyler, what do you make of conditions this afternoon? We're just monitoring that wind closely, and how did you see things out there?
Look, there's still rideable opportunity. I think the waves that I was on, they weren't my particular first choice of wave. You know, those sets kind of come through and they throw you quite a bit, and then it takes you like a couple waves to be like, oh, there it is, there it is. But then it was sets or nothing, so it wasn't my preference, but it's still contestable for sure. Like, it's still very, you just got to find your lines and find the waves.
A big debrief with Andy here. He's an animated character, he's heavily invested. Any insight into that debrief?
No, it's pretty, at this point of the game, it's pretty straightforward now. Like, we've had a few heats now, we're kind of settled into the week here, and no, it's kind of just staying the course and keep finding the waves that I want out there, and that's about it. It's not real super analytical or anything. It's just like we're kind of just in a point where it's like we know what we're both doing, and he's keeping an eye on it. If anything really changes, but at this stage there hasn't been too many changes. Yep.
Excuse me, sorry. In the event of a few lay days, what do you get up to?
I don't know yet. I think my mum's here and my auntie and uncle, and my cousin, so we probably have a few dinners. Will be actually pretty nice, and I don't know if the sun's going to be out. But we went kayaking up the river the other day, and oh my gosh, it was so beautiful, so peaceful, and just like a stillness that I've never quite experienced before. So yeah, I don't know, adventure somewhere.
Sounds good. Well done, Tyler.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking strong and adapting to the conditions on hand. Just a crazy focus, so zeroed in on a big finish here. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, but not forgetting that Carissa Moore's also into the semi-finals. Tyler Wright has already moved into the #1 position on the live ladder. She's going to be surfing against the winner of this last quarterfinal heat. Let's bring up the Bailey Ladders bracket. I mean, from the quarters, we just had such tough matchups, but Bronte McCauley is going to be representing the hometown beautifully. Bugs?
Oh, Bronte, there is a big cheer going up for the local girl, Bronte McCauley. What a champion and an amazing family. Her dad's won this event. She's up against 5-time world champion Carissa Moore. And Carissa, we just saw heroics, a 9.63 on the barrel of the tournament as an 11th hour plus a bit. And Felicity, that is some comeback. And then, of course, Tyler Wright, she's secured the red singlet in semi-final #2.
Yeah, and it's going to be an exciting finish to this heat too. I mean, Sally surfing for her life, and here we go. We've got a replay of Sally, and nice swooping turn off the top here. She pivots a little bit tighter on this second carve and brings it through to the inside for a nice controlled finish here. So is that a make?
That's maybe a question mark.
Well, the judges gave it a 3.83, so the question mark's been answered.
Yeah, you'd have to say no credit for that one, which is pretty tough.
Yeah, pretty tough. Well, you and I debated that one off the screen, and I thought, I was a bit sus on it. You were pretty sure she made it.
I thought so. I mean, if you're in a surfing with your mates and you do that turn, I think you call it a make. But the judges, you know, one thing that we haven't sort of had to question too much is, you know, those debatable situations. And, you know, there was definitely a little question mark over it. I thought they might give her credit for it, but I was wrong.
I mean, I think in the end of the day, I don't see her going into the top 2. Even if she did make it, I think this seat's going to blow up at some stage. If we get a bombing set, Caroline's sitting there. She's got priority, and she's ready to swoop on something that's going to suit her backhand. I think Tyler really pointed to that. Yeah, well, look, gosh, that's a tough call, all right. Tough call.
She was sort of out of front of the section that she hit, and only after she'd been riding along for a while did the you know, the right behind her sort of chase her down. But obviously they want to see you get well and truly clear of it. Sally Fitzgibbons, you know, the reason why we're all so surprised to see her here surfing for her place on the CT is because she's been one of the most winning surfers of all time. 12 championship tour victories at spots all over the CT schedule. She's so well rounded.
But such a hero, you know, such a role model, giving of so much time to the next generation, always surrounded by groms and kids, and she's a big grom herself, and it's wonderful. She's been an amazing ambassador for professional surfing.
When I think of Sal's greatest moments, Fiji springs to mind for me, when she went on with a ruptured eardrum, head taped up to get herself the victory.
Yeah.
That was just amazing. As we see Caroline up now in second spot, but only needs a 4.34, and this wave standing up pretty nicely. Gives her a few opportunities to get on the attack, driving up into this final section. Just doesn't really have the speed to throw that turn up there and bring it back down. But a 4.34, that's a possibility out of that ride.
I think she'd banked it before that final turn, but what I thought was really good was just how she positioned herself behind the peak and on that back end, coming from around that section, Flick.
Yeah, well, she really had to do it on this wave because that first section wasn't very steep, so she needed to be as deep as possible. And I like that last turn there. She just went straight up into the lip. She tries to finish here, but just nosedives. Here we go. This is that first turn where she comes around from behind. See how it was quite fat out on the wave, and she could tell, so she just brought it right around. And then this second section, she almost created this section for herself so she could get a little bit more tighter in the pocket there.
Yeah, and I thought right here, if she just finished the ride there, she'd completely banked all the points. She went for this bonus section, Ronnie, and this is sometimes, you know, you've got to go for it though, haven't you?
Oh, she's wanting to get up into the excellent range. She almost got there. This one just sort of slapped her down at the end, but she banked a good score, 7.67 for Caroline Marks. And Sally Fitzgibbons now has quite a bit of work to do, looking for a 7.18 with priority.
And that is the danger of Caroline Marks. I mean, it was a kind of an ordinary looking wave, but she came from behind that peak, and as Felicity said, she set it up by just bringing it back into the pocket and then going square to the bottom, and she's got that Ocalupo bottom turn style.
Yeah, she's got an incredible patience off the bottom, and she can kind of manage her speed on that rail and a commitment to the rail for a long time before she really starts driving hard for that vertical approach.
Yeah, one thing she did there that was pretty impressive is the first section was quite flat, right? So she goes up and hits it. She brings it all the way around. But in doing that, her spray from that first hit actually created the second turn where she actually hits. So it's pretty cool. It was like a little two-turn combo. And you said two bugs. I mean, it was, you know, that wave was a smaller wave. But one thing I picked up from that post-heat interview that... here we go, we get to have a little look here. So she does this like turn off the top here and she brings it right around, but that actually creates this next little section, makes it a little bit steeper.
Yeah, and she does that. She's able to go and do that deep bottom turn, and that's where she brought it back into the power section.
Yeah, and then in this section here, it allows her to go so vertical into the lip. So pretty well technically surfed wave.
Well, Sally competing here at home. She's got her family on hand. Her dad Martin here, as he often is with Sally, cheering her on, helping her get set for these big clashes, these important moments. But Caroline's been travelling with Luke Egan, leaning into his experience. But her family would be tuned in for sure, watching on back home. Great people, her folks, Darren and Sarah. They'd be watching on, and yeah, all her brothers and her little sister.
Oh, just awesome. Everyone's got their entourage. Oh, of course, their families, but I mean, having a big Louis in your corner is not too bad.
Oh, it's great, especially if you're getting a brawl. So Caroline Marks just super composed on that last ride. It's interesting. It was sort of mistake-free surfing without Caroline really having to land a killer blow. She was able to turn in a 7.67. You said it was ominous for Sally in the early stages, just how well Caroline scored for that one big backhand hit, 5.33. There was a couple of other turns mixed in with it, but really a lot of credit for that one smooth hit off the top. And the judges rewarding her again for seamless surfing in bumpy conditions. So Sally's going to have to answer the call here. 16 minutes to go with priority. Sal having a look at this one. She's deep. Gets into it a little late. Has to kind of chase down the section. And a wasted use of priority there.
Yeah, I just got caught up in the paddle there. Wasn't able to quite get over the ledge, Felicity. And that's even though we don't have the strong offshores, just that 1 or 2 strokes late is going to, you're chasing it.
Yeah, she was sort of a little bit out of position, I guess, maybe a bit too deep. But here, because the waves are so powerful, they move at a different speed. You know, it's different to the east coast of Australia. These waves move fast, and sometimes you just need that couple of extra strokes. One thing I picked up from Tyler's heat, her post-heat interview, is she said that it's really sets or nothing. And we can see it right now. Like the waves, that wave that Caroline actually got that 7.67 on, that was a smaller wave. And then other than, all these waves have been small waves that the girls have been riding. And then the other bigger waves that have been coming through, they've been getting caught inside by them. And I actually had a sneaky look on Surfline and I checked out a couple of buoys and it said that it was actually on the rise. So yeah, we're seeing that.
Well, Sally Fitzgibbons has to correct that mistake now. She's got no priority. She's still looking for a 7.18. Today has surfed up so many big moments. We've got a lot to look forward to in the WSL post-show. One of the big features will obviously be the buzzer beater moment for Carissa Moore, who's getting credit there from Molly Picklum. We're going to take a bonsai brew break. More to come from the quarterfinals in just a moment. We are so lucky to come back to Wadandi Budja each year for the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. The WSL acknowledges the Wadandi people as the traditional owners of the Margaret River region, and we thank them for welcoming us once again to this beautiful part of the world. We want to pay our respects to the Wadandi community, their elders, past and present. And each year, you know, we're committed to getting along, learning about the local history here, the culture, the language. It's been awesome to have Simon Suvic with us once again. And Uncle Zach Webb, who gave us some great words to work on, like Kaya, which is welcome, almost like their version of Aloha, if you will. But yeah, we thank them. It's a great experience, and this is a place you should definitely get down there and check out. But a couple of waves during the break. Caroline Marks on the attack again. Sally Fitzgibbons trying to get into this heat.
Look, you could see she just wanted more from that wave there on that replay, and yeah, just unfortunately it didn't go her way. But Caroline Marks went to town on that last wave.
Yeah, Sally, you know, the results, the stats, they speak for themselves here at this venue, but you know, that connection just seems lost out here, Bugs. She had it earlier today, but right now she's really struggling to get rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, on that last one, you can see she did that great top turn, and then she was just coiled and ready to go, but the wave just collapsed.
Caroline Marks, on the other hand, she just continues to, you know, put the squeeze on Sally here. A 7-point ride to back up the 7.67, and Sally now after an 8.84. Still got time to chip away at this requirement and just give herself a better shot at it. But she needs to make one of these rides count. She needs a confidence-building score here. Let's see what she can do with this one. Up into the first section. Beautiful whipping carve to get started. This wave, though, starting to break away, and Sal's out of there.
Yeah, I mean, Caroline didn't even have a look over her shoulder at that one. But you're right. I mean, Caroline's just trying to. I mean, Sally, she's trying to make something happen here. And look, she needs an 8.84. In these conditions, it's not going to go in one bite. You know, she needs to probably get a 6.5 under her belt.
Something to rival Caroline Marks' 7. And, you know, obviously, if she can do better than that, she'll be styling. But it's a tough situation. There's got to be a whole lot of pressure Sally's feeling at the moment, because she's already gotten to this incredible position to make a really good strike at that top 10. Only needs to win this heat, and then she's guaranteed a place through the back half of the year where she can definitely get on a roll and potentially get into that final 5 again. But she'll also be on tour for 2024 if she can achieve this goal.
Yeah, it really was a massive task ahead of her. You know, she looked amazing at Bells. She had that opening round heat. She looked really on fire. Her boards are looking good. She came here to Margaret River. Her opening round heats were looking good. She looked like she did have that connection, Ronnie, like you were saying. I guess she just hasn't quite found the flow in this heat, and she definitely needs to find a score to rival Caroline Marks' 7-point ride.
You've got to kind of, at this point, Bugs, put it down to nerves, because it's just looked, there's been a couple of turning points, but a little wave selection error with priority is really what kind of slowed her down in this heat.
Yeah, it's been the wave selection, and there was a priority mistake. Just these little things become massive when you're kind of 1.5 waves behind the 8 ball.
I see your eyebrows go up, and you start rubbing your brow. You feel it for the competitors. You can pick those turning point moments.
Yeah, I know. I mean, my head blows up for them.
Sally Fitzgibbons, Felicity, you know, you obviously got that year on the CT. She's a true professional, maybe one of the most committed athletes we've ever seen on the tour.
Oh, I feel like Sally, from the very very beginning, even when she was 12 years old, you know, she was such an amazing athlete, not just a surfer, playing soccer, running track and field. And I mean, she was always talented. It's just what avenue she took. And that professionalism that she had in those other sports, I feel like she just carried that through to surfing. And she was way more physically fit and mentally fit compared to all her other counterparts from such a young age, and just carried that through to herself and Courtney Conolog, both of them.
You know what I really feel? I really feel that when with the Irukandjis, that Sally, she really wanted that gold medal in surfing, because it was kind of it was always her destiny to be in the Olympic Games, whether it was going to be for a middle distance runner or some other sport. She was so versatile, and when surfing came along, it was like, here's Sally's moment.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. And yeah, she's always so supportive of all the other Australians around the world doing well in sport, and loves to watch and cheer. And yeah, she's just a good Aussie, you know, and such a kind heart. And I mean, she's got a big task ahead of her. There's 7.5 minutes remaining. Let's see if she can make it happen.
Obviously a really big international star, but what many people overseas might not know is that Sal has a huge profile here in Australia. And, you know, it's a love of sports that people really connect with. And she's even hosted Wide World of Sports, a massive sporting program over here, or the pinnacle sporting program. So, you know, she's an absolute superstar.
Yeah, she's a marketing dream over here, and it's just that big amorous smile and just a larger than life personality.
And she's not out of this one just yet, but Caroline Marks has just been so switched on. She's up again. She's trying to better a 7 now to maybe put it out of reach for Sally with a single ride. She's hammered this one, start to finish. She's not done with it. The 7's going to go out the door, you'd think. That was rock solid start to finish.
Gosh, you know, Caroline Marks is a real danger in this draw.
Oh, she's a real danger anywhere. But that was That was impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about the bumps. I think she's identified a wave that was maybe a little smaller in size, but it just hugged the reef and as a result kind of bowled up a little better.
Yeah, that wave, here we go. We're about to see a replay of it here, but look how smooth the face of this wave is, and also perfectly timed by her. It was just beautiful to watch. I mean, this is maneuver right here, absolute money, and then tagging it again, just... Oh.
This is excellent surfing. This is going to be a big number. Sally might find herself comboed after this one.
Yeah, and as Felicity said, look how smooth the face is. Look how vertical the surfing is. She's coming from behind that section, and she's looking down the line. She knows she doesn't even have to think about the bottom turn. She's just looking down the line and looking at that lip. She's got her aim on, perfectly timed. She just pivots off the top of that wave, and then this one, she just tags it. This is going to be up in the excellent range for sure.
She just maintains that flow off the bottom so beautifully. You could see her just riding that rail for a really long time then, thinking, not yet, not yet, not yet, now is my time. And she capitalised on all the major scoring opportunities that wave served up. 8.83, and Sally Fitzgibbons is now chasing a two-wave total of 16.5 to stay alive. And I mean, she hasn't found a solid score yet, so it's almost out of reach.
Well, she let that first wave go of that set, so let's see if there's more in it. We saw a few lines. She's let a few go. I think she's looking for a smoother face.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a bomb. And Sally's scrambling. Don't know if she's going to swing on this one. In fact, she's got a duck dive under it. 4.5 minutes to go. She's hoping that this next wave kind of backs off and gives her an opportunity, because she needs to make a move now if she's going to break combination.
She's got to swing and go.
And dig in to a couple of big hits. Having a look at it. Late takeoff under the lip. And she's got to make this first turn count. The wave flattens out a little bit, and she's going to opt out of this one. 4 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's impossible. This is how gnarly it is at this break. I mean, if she could have just been out another 10 feet, you know, then she would have got that big first bomb. No, it was the second wave of the set.
Understandable. We've been focusing on Sally Fitzgibbons, but what about Gabrielle O'Brien, who's had to watch this heat, knowing full well how good Sally's record is at this venue? I mean, this has been a really nerve-wracking 35 minutes for a couple of competitors and their families.
No, that's right, and that's the whole thing going on here. There's just so much happening. Gabrielle O'Brien is looking for a major assist.
Well, Gabrielle O'Brien, she lost out just after 8 a.m. this morning. So she's had a very, very, very long day. And it's possibly going to come to a close with a happy ending for her.
Well, you know, her and a fellow Hawaiian, Betty Lou Sakura Johnson, were both on the wrong side of the borderline when we started the day.
Man. They were right there. I mean, they never dropped below that cut line, but they were just so within reach for Sally Fitzgibbons and Lakey Peterson. Lakey did make that jump up into 9th position. And Gabrielle O'Brien is going to hang on to this spot, because a two-wave total of 16.5, that's hard to turn around in 10 minutes. But with 2.5 minutes to go, there's no chance.
Well, Gabrielle O'Brien, like she had a really rough day from 8 o'clock this morning, but she's had a nice last 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, she's still probably nervous right now.
Yeah. She's chewed her fingers down to the bone, her nails, no doubt. But yeah, Sally Fitzgibbons, we've got to celebrate this individual. Such a powerhouse. Should be a force on the Challenger Series, but her second year in a row not making the cut. She had the benefit of a wild card opportunity to get another crack at it this year, but it just hasn't come together for her. You know, I reflect on those first 5 events, and there has been some pretty decent performances, but the consistency that she's so famous for has kind of eluded her this year.
Yeah, it's been a tough run, these first 5 events for Sally Fitzgibbon, and you know, sometimes the ocean has worked against her, and sometimes the pressure of the situation, but she has also shown glimpses of her very best. As you said, Felicity, that first round at Winky Pop, she was unbelievable. Like, she was the best surfer in the lineup.
Felicity, Sally obviously didn't have to go to the Challenger Series last year, because she knew she had that wild card locked in for this season. But how do you think she'd fare on the Challenger Series?
Well, look, there's two different ways to look at it. The first way to look at it is she's coming from the CT. These girls are the best in the world, and the competition is nothing like it. You know, these heats are surfed with a different sort of intensity. You know, you're mature, you're so much more mature, and so you're coming into it with a lot of experience, right? And you can sometimes let that experience help your performance, or you can look at it as, well, there is so many girls, you know, there's so few spots on the Women's World Tour, right? And now there's even fewer, and there's really such few spots there that these girls on the Challenger Series are so hungry to get a result that it could go one of two ways.
And the other thing, I think, is after 15 years, going back to 4-man heats, it's a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not really the case on the Challenger Series, though. It does get to head-to-head competition, so it's going to be really interesting to see. Sal's obviously going to take some time. She doesn't have a whole lot of time to think about her next move because that Challenger Series kicks off very soon, Bugs. We're going to be there, mate. We didn't make the cut either.
Oh, gosh. So we've gone to the QS many times, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah, the QS, the Challenger Series. But it's going to be hotly contested. Obviously, some amazing venues there for Sally Fitzgibbons. I think she'll shine on the Challenger Series, but we've got to give her big props for what has already been an amazing CT career, and I think she's got more to give in the future. But you've got to definitely raise a glass to Carolyn Marks here. Unbelievable performance from her. An excellent heat score total, 16.5. And, you know, sometimes in these kind of heats, you can forget just what's on the line for someone like Caroline. She wants to get into that Final 5 series. She wants to keep pushing towards the top end of the rankings. And with a semi-final result at worst, she's on her way.
Well, 16.5 with plenty left in the tank.
And she'll be taking on Tyler Wright in that second semi-final clash. The women's semis just look unbelievable. We know we've got the men's quarters set. We'll be having a look at that on the Bailey ladder bracket and the WSL post-show as our competitors make their way in after another huge day of competition. And thanks, Felicity, for getting Mainbreak to cooperate for us.
No worries, anytime, Ronnie. Anytime.
Well, stick around. We've got the WSL post-show coming up. We're going to be talking about who has made the cut and also looking at some amazing rides from an unbelievable day of competition. We're going to bring in Joe, Rich and Stace to take us through all the action.
You are watching the WSL Post Show here on a gorgeous day, beautiful afternoon here at Margaret River. The Western Australia Margaret River Pro really hooked us up with great conditions, and we scored today. Caroline Marks, what a weapon. She's on fire, 883-767. She gets to chat with all the fans right there. She's just gonna write, I'm Caroline Marks and I'm back. That's right, little hiatus last year, but now she is firing at all cylinders. One of the youngest competitors to come on the scene, and wow, she took down some big names and really helped the tour kind of settle the system in the midseason cut. Thanks for being with us on the WSL Post Show on the Harvey Norman host set. Super comfy here. Richie Lovett, great job today, my friend.
Thanks, Joe.
Great conditions. Were you surprised we got as much accomplished as we did today?
I was actually. I feel like today was a full bonus day. We knew there was going to be still enough swell. We just weren't too sure on the wind, but perfect offshore conditions for most of the morning, and then it really hasn't been until the last hour the wind started to really come up. We knew it was going to, and so we're going home for a while.
Stace Galbraith, you mad dog. Wow, you've been on fire on the post-heat interviews. Loving your work today. How was the energy like on the stairs?
Yeah, the energy was crazy. You know, the overlapping heats, things just seem to come and go so quickly. But yeah, a couple standouts. It's always good to get a laugh out of Gabriel. So yeah, had a pretty good day down there.
Well done. Let's check out the Bailey's Ladder bracket heading into finals day. We got down to the semifinals for the women. What about WA's own Bronte McCauley? 3 straight appearances in the semifinals on the top of the draw.
Yeah, she's becoming the spoiler in this event over the last couple of years, and well, she's on another roll, and she's using all of that local knowledge, but she's up against one of the ladies who's going to be the hardest in this draw. You know, you almost figure Carissa got to get out of jail free card with that little last wave that you know, Lakey let her have. She tucked into the barrel, did the snap, got the huge score, and wow, what a matchup. And Tyler and Caroline, that one is going to be really cool.
Some real cool themes there. World champs with goofy footers on both sides of the draw, but the moment that Richie was just speaking of, Carissa Moore, how did she create this magic without priority, Stace?
Yeah, she's just amazing situational awareness. She's obviously got the skill set. She's 5-time world champion, we know that. But just to be aware of her surroundings and where she was positioned on the reef, and, you know, dropping into a wave here at main break, you're not often thinking tube, especially when it's onshore. So for her to pull that off was amazing. But full credit to Lakey here. She had a fantastic heat, and I feel like she was in a position where damned if you do, damned if you don't. If she goes that wave, there's a bomb behind it. It's just one of those situations.
Wow. Turning points. Can you believe that, Richie?
Nah, that was just amazing intuition there. You know, she was just going by feel. You know, she took off on the wave and just really had no other option but just to pull in, really hold that line through the barrel. It was a tricky barrel to ride, really, but then to come out and then just hammer that section, no holding back at all, and you could see just the emotion started to pour out of Carissa. She was you know, sort of overtaken by the moment.
Let's check out making the cut. Lakey Peterson at the time wasn't sure of her fate as she lost in the last exchange there. Well, last wave, I should say. But then she got the news. Lakey Peterson making the cut officially. And then the big name right there that was in the balance, Gabriella Bryan, was waiting to see what Sally would do. Officially getting that last spot again. She made it last year. Let's make it 2 in a row. Bryan's going to take that and run with it this season.
It's so interesting, isn't it, when you watch all the emotions around this cut. You know, yesterday we saw Betty Lou. She was in tears just thinking her career was over on the championship tour for the next year, and then today she's back in. So it just goes to show you, like, there's so much jockeying that goes on, and it's not over until the final heat of today.
Well, it's real. I mean, the pressure that we're feeling, that we're seeing, and in the Red Bull Athlete Zone, the moment for Lakey when we weren't sure of her fate and Carissa turns it around. I mean, I'm going to remember this day for a really long time, Stace. To see the magic from Carissa in an unpredictable ocean, I mean, those are the moments you live for in competition.
Yeah, definitely. And I think win or lose, all the competitors would agree with that sentiment. That's what they sign up for. Although there is heartbreak for some, that's the pressure that brings out these crazy performances. So, yeah, I'm here for it.
Now, on the other side of that, not making the cut, let's go through this list. Some huge names that are going to have to think about their next move. Brisa Hennessy, member, top 5 finish last season. The veteran with tons of experience. Courtney Conlock, Sally, part of that veteran story. Let's play a little team manager role, Rich. Who are you seeing really take over the Challenger Series and really having the best shot at being back on tour next year?
I think for me, Isabella Nichols and Macy Callahan are going to go at it super, super hard, as well as Sophie McCulloch. The only real question marks for me is what Courtney Conalogue's going to do and what Joanne Defay's going to do. All the rest I see digging straight back into the Challenger Series, including Sally. You know she'll be there at Snapper Rocks in a week or so's time.
Interesting, Stace. Looking at veterans like Sally and Courtney, wondering what is next for those two surfers.
I think the way the tour, the challenge is structured, Snapper is an amazing draw card, and I'd like to think we're going to see both of them there.
I like that. We'll keep you guys posted if we hear any statements from our veterans who are getting potentially sent to the Challenger Series. But one of our favorite heats today, talk about a contrast in personalities and in styles. Goofy versus regular, Brazil versus Australia, Ethan Ewing versus Italo Ferreira. This is like as punk rocket as it gets when Italo's going to go for the airs. And check out the lefts. Look what he did today at the main break left, Stace.
Wow. That is just so cool. He's so radical. You just never know what you're going to get out of Italo. He's an absolute excitement machine.
And he could get himself out of jail with that maneuver, but Ethan's rail work was just undeniable.
Yeah, and Ethan stuck to his guns here. You know, he didn't try and sort of go blow for blow with Italo in the air. He just went, you know, really leaned into that power hack and that slice that he's just been putting on display now for the last couple of seasons, and it's serving him so well, and it just keeps getting better and better. There seems to be more variation in what he's doing every time he hits the water.
Ethan's been on fire, but we check out the Bailey Laders bracket. He has you-know-who. Does Ethan Ewing have a shot against John Florence? Starting with you, Stoppies.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Look, Luke Egan and I were talking about it today. Two totally different approaches. You could talk about this at the pub for hours, but I think Ethan Ewing and John Florence are very evenly matched out here. Two contrasting styles, but I think the judges are going to have an absolute field day dissecting that heat if they both get their opportunities.
Holy smokes. Check out the Bailey Ladders bracket for potential finals day. The big Brazilian world champ heat at the top. World #1 still in the mix with Connor O'Leary and Griff versus Barron to look forward to. Caroline Marks is hot and hanging out with Kaipo Guerrero.
That's right, Joe. Caroline, Joe saying you're hot, coming in hot right now. Excellent heat total. Sharp surfing on your backhand. How do you feel coming off of that heat?
Yeah, I feel really good. That was a fun one. Sally's, I have so much respect for her, and that was she's always puts up a great battle. I was actually joking with her before the heat because in 2019, we were in the same round together, and she beat me, and it was really frustrating, and I haven't forgotten about it. So I just really want to get her back, and yeah, I love her. She's epic, and have so much respect for her, and she's a great surfer. So I knew I had to put up really big scores to beat her, and yeah, it was fun.
Let's look into the future. Your semifinal matchup, Tyler Wright. Your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, Tyler to me is surfing really she looks really in form right now, and she's surfing amazing at Bells, and yeah, it should be fun. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Great surfing, Caroline. We'll see you finals day.
Thanks so much. Hi to my parents back home. I know you guys stayed up late. All my friends. Love you guys. You're the best. Cool. Thanks, Kaipo.
You're welcome.
See you.
Let's add to the shout out to the Marks family. You guys are awesome. You must be so proud of what Caroline Marks has been doing today. Amazing against Sally Fitzgibbons as she moves on and looking for maybe her 4th CT win of her career. As we were focusing on the men's bracket, checking out that Bailey Ladders leaderboard, we really focused on the John and Ethan Ewing heat. But it doesn't have to be the side of the draw that has the champion. Richie, where do you see that unfolding?
Well, you know, it is hard to go past that heat because there have been some of the informed surfers. We know John has a record here of excellent wave tallies that just surpasses anyone. Doesn't come close, you know. So he's obviously going to be at the top of the list when you talk about guys to beat. But you know, there's 2 goofy footers left in the mix, same as on the women's quarterfinal bracket. There's 2 goofy footers versus the 6 natural footers. So you know, Gabriel Medina, I feel like he's just itching to get back in the winner's circle. So maybe Gab's from the top half of the draw.
Stace, more on Medina, because you've been spending the most time with him. Does he feel different than he kind of has appeared to you all season?
It's funny. I think the year we had the 4 CT events here, it has a similar vibe to that. He seems really relaxed. He's got a great crew of people traveling with him. He's surfing incredible. It's actually surprising to me that he hasn't had that major result at Bells Beach or here at Mainbreak. He's due.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing the final series unfold, but it's time for the Boost Mobile Wave of the Day. Yeah, it's going right to this.
Yeah,
Carissa Moore, under priority, 9.63.
Tucks in so well, just knifes in there. Straight off the bottom turn, tucks up into the barrel. And I just, you know, that was the exclamation mark, the little bit of icing on the cake was that snap after she came through it. Totally disappears. Right there, she was actually on the foam ball for a second, powers through it, muscles her way out. Just a little chandelier at the end section, but yeah, just to have that instinct to come straight out, back on the toe side, up into the lip. You know, it was mastery at play.
And you have to say the one part of her act that she's been really working on, maybe more than anything in the last few years, is barrel riding and pulling in under the hood at waves like backdoor. That's all paying off, especially for that moment at main break.
Oh, absolutely. Carissa's got the skill set to pull in anywhere around the world, front side or backside, and I think today that paid off. And to be honest, I still feel for Lakey at that wave, man. Like, we hadn't seen a wave break like that all day.
Yeah.
And even the exit for Carissa was extremely difficult, and you know, that's why she was rewarded with such a high score.
It was a big moment. With all on the line for Lakey as well, I got a text from Mike Parsons, who's worked with Lakey for a long time. All he said was, that was heavy. Like, it was just such a big turning point. Good news for Lakey, still survives as Carissa moves on throughout this contest. Interesting looking at the waves that we had today, and Surfline's been letting us know that we've had a lot to work with at the start of the waiting period. Today, we're wondering how much we'd accomplished. We accomplished more than we thought. Richie, what are your expectations now pulling up the maps?
Well, my expectations for the next couple of days are possibly heading to some of the wineries and reaping the fruits of the incredible vineyards around here. But, you know, look, we've been talking about this front that's going to start moving in over the next couple of days. Onshore, southwesterly flow. It's going to build into tomorrow. Onshore winds, bigger swell. There may even be some rain with it, and it's going to get ugly. So, you know, we're still probably going to come down and check it out, but you can see here on the long-range forecast, they're big waves, man. Plenty of wind, and that spells maybe no surfing and some other activities.
It certainly does. Stace might get on the road for about 13 hours, so you staying put?
I think Bugs and I are going to head up the coast, actually.
You could go on an adventure, but it's definitely going to be predicted to be pretty shredded around this lineup, and things should clean up towards the tail end of the waiting period. Thank you so much, Surfline, for all the great forecasting. You guys have been spot on. And definitely, Richie, the event we've scored the most so far this season.
Oh, it's been super fun every day that we've run the event. Even opening day was beautiful, clean conditions. And then the last couple of days, it's been, you know, by far the best conditions we've had on the tour this year.
Exciting time in the WSL Post Show. It's time for the daily top 5. If you make this list, you're a legend today. Coming in number 5 on the list, Stace, Tyler Wright continues to roll on.
Yeah, I'm loving the way that Tyler's been surfing this year, and even towards the back half of last year, she's just got a little bit of extra length in her calves. She's obviously still got that strong layback maneuver there. It's a hallmark of her surfing, but just sort of the in-between maneuvers and her flow is looking like, you know, she's the real complete package this year, and scary for her competitors. She's got the eye of the tiger more than ever at the moment.
He's doing it her way. Number 4, congrats Medina, as he's running into the quarterfinals, his first of the season, Rich.
Yeah, and this is danger signs for everyone else, because you get the feeling that Gabs is starting to get that winning feeling back in his soul, you know, and he seems like he's in a good place. He's got a couple of buddies out here with him from home, and he's starting to make some of those big, heavy maneuvers that we're so used to seeing.
Bronte McCauley, number 3, takes out world number 1, Stace.
Yeah, this was a cool heat, and sort of, it's not really an upset, I think. Like, Bronte obviously knows this wave like better than anyone. She's had multiple semi-finals here, and she's got another one to add to it. And I think this could be the year she goes all the way. Her wave selection's been amazing.
Number 2, you know who? John Florence, adding to his legacy at main break.
Yeah, just showing us how to take on the chicanes here at Margaret River main break, and a real masterclass on how to carve. And I don't know if anyone does it better out here. So, you know, again, he's been touted as an event favourite, and has to be considered again.
Winning the day and the WSL Post Show, your number 1, Carissa Moore, on that buzzer beater barrel, Stace.
Yeah, I'm still baffled by this wave every time I watch it. I think one of the reasons why Lakey probably choose to let her go the wave is because they weren't really on the peak for the takeoff. So she's probably thinking, okay, cool, she's too far down the line to really make anything out of this wave. You saw that wave capping a little deeper. But again, it's easy to say from the couch here. Obviously, Carissa Moore, 9.63. Thanks for coming.
An emotional moment for Carissa. Remember, she won the opening event of the season at Pipeline, but she's trying to get her feet wet again with another big podium finish. And for her, if she's not winning, something's wrong, where she's looking at herself, trying to redefine her momentum in a world title campaign. She's runner-up in the world sometimes, and you're questioning how much control she has of the tour. She's a perfectionist, and right now it feels like she's got the momentum to potentially pick up that 27th win of her career.
Yeah, it'd be pretty special, and moments like that barrel can change the course of destiny. In my mind, I feel like there's a momentum shift just in her attitude and how she's going to approach the rest of this event, but excited to see what unfolds. We've got 10 heats remaining basically in the event, so not sure when it's going to happen, but we'll be eyes on.
Stace, if you're managing athletes and we could have a series of lay days, what's the advice to try to stay hot and ready when the contest goes on? Because we've been just rapid fire. Now we're going to have our first real break.
It's almost like reset, and that final day will be like a whole new event. And so it's an extremely difficult thing to manage, and I think you've got to take a leaf out of Gabriel Medina's book and keep the routine. You know, you don't need to recreate the wheel. Keep it simple, keep it light, keep it fun, and come in ready for finals day.
And today was a bit of a surprise. Things held off for us, and we got a lot done. So we're going to make a call again for tomorrow morning to see if we can get the contest underway here at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. We're going to leave you with some highlights. Enjoy WorldSurfLeague.com. Take good care of yourself, and we'll see you bright and early.
Coming to you live once again from the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. Our athletes in the round of 16.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, look at these things. Took me up an octave.
There's Tyler in full flight.
Big grab rail carve.
She hangs onto it. I was really nervous before that heat. It's make or break, really.
Got to keep making heats.
It's so much fun. This is why we play sport.
I'm going to miss you, and I wish you both the best of luck. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you.
Heartbreak for Brisa Hennessy.
And we'll now move into the round of 16 for the men.
Classic Geordie layback.
It's just the miracle man when it comes to tricky end sections.
He's like watching a gymnast.
It's just a ferocious approach, right, from Gabe Medina.
This second turn was mental.
That's the money turn. Connor has just this maneuver on lockdown.
And now he might just go for a punt.
Basically just body surfing on his back. Griff just letting some of the emotion fly.
The Dolphins getting in on the show.
I'm going to miss you.
Look at the power and the style.
You've officially made the cut.
No, I haven't.
Carissa pulls into the pit and makes it. This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.